Hello. Thank you so much for your patience with this. This is the patron Q&A for my video on the anime Arisa Good Luck.
Hello.
For my video on the anime Arisa Good Luck.
It's me, Alyssa Good Luck.
Yeah, it's Alyssa Good Luck.
That's me.
I'm here with my wife as always to answer questions submitted by my patrons.
Heyo.
I got a lot of all the questions were really good. I'm really excited to answer them. First up, though, I actually have a list of further explanations and a few small corrections.
Housekeeping.
Yeah, just some housekeeping for this video in particular. So first things first, a lot of people asked about the Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, the WWF doujinshi that appears in
in the footage.
Yeah, that appears when I'm going over the Komiket CD. The doujin group that put that together, or maybe it's just the artist's name, to my understanding, is Shokiri Pro Wrestling. Pro Wrestling.
Shokiri Pro Wrestling.
Yeah. And it... some people asked about it. Some people went and did their own research, which is exactly what I wanted. I had a second when I was in the re-uploading phase where I was like, oh, it would be really smart if I just go in and just explain this now while I have the opportunity. But I thought about it and I was like, I feel like leaving a few mysteries for those who are interested in pursuing it on their own.
Fall down your own rabbit holes.
Yeah. That is kind of something that I want to encourage. So to further expand on what I was saying about some of the motion blending, that is apparently a process called telescening. So I'm going to read this comment.
Do you want me to read it?
Yeah, sure. You can read this comment from Natural Ketchup.
Thank you, Natural Ketchup. Small note, no DVDs can be 24 FPS. A DVD is almost always 29.97 FPS, 25 FPS in PAL regions, with interlacing added for old televisions to handle it better. In particular, a DVD of media made on film can usually be de-interlaced back into 24 FPS with a process named telecide. Same goes for a DVD of media made on tape or other media that shot at 60 FPS or 59.97 FPS, which can be de-interlaced back into its native frame rate as well.
So from what I understand, and I wish I could find this person on Twitter, somebody was talking about doing that for Arisa and uploading that to the Internet Archive, just like a standard interlaced version, or perhaps even then just getting a version at 24 FPS. I haven't checked in on that since because I've been busy with a lot of other projects, but it does seem like that is possible with Arisa. And moreover, that is more possible now than it was with previous uploads, because I was able to get the highest quality version of it that I could in both ISO form and in MKV form.
Well, that's great.
Yeah.
Great.
Sorry,
shit.
that sounded like a weird like a self aggrandizing way of putting that, but rather I just mean that
it's cool that people are able to do that.
Yeah,
now.
yeah, exactly. So also somebody pointed out that I misread the review on Amazon. I claimed that they said that the PS2 hadn't been released when the DVD came out. But rather, they said that what they were saying was that DVDs were a thing, but they weren't popular yet. Which they suspected was why it didn't come out on DVD and VHS in 1999, but then later came out on DVD afterward. It was a little confusing, especially because I want to say the point that reviewer was making was like, why even bother? Because this thing is so forgettable outside of Yu and Horie.
Right.
So I did my best there, and I had another friend read over it. And that's something I need to make clear is, like, this wasn't me bashing my head against machine translation and nothing else. You know, I had a few friends help out. I had Alyssa help out. With translating specifically, yeah. So, you know, it's not as though I was attempting to do this completely in a vacuum. Mm-hmm. It's just difficult when I'm doing something like this and I don't know what leads are actually going to prove to be especially fruitful in the end.
Yeah.
So usually I'll just kind of go off of a combination of a few different forms of machine translating and then cross-referencing anything that still doesn't really make sense to me with other friends, if it seems like it'll be pertinent, because I don't like to bother them. So that one, you know, that I think it was just confusingly worded in general, because another friend of mine had trouble with it as well.
Yeah.
And then also on that same note, the characters that I thought said distribution, but that I claimed said sales in the credits for Manga Pack actually did, in fact, say distribution. When you plug those characters into Jisho, it says sales, but typically in the context of anime credits or film credits in general, you would read that as distribution, or you would read it to mean distribution. Another comment I received theorized that the information about ordering the tape belatedly came specifically from a kind of provisional, like, okay, this is going to wind up getting passed around in tape trading circles. So anybody who gets this tape copied and then goes, oh, I want this full thing, will have the instructions as to how. I think that is a possibility, especially because a handful of other people corroborated that. Yeah, we had to bleach our tub because I got this fucking hair dye that did not actually cling to any of my hair.
Everything but your hair.
Yeah.
Your pillow, your clothes, the tub.
Yeah.
But not your hair.
But no. Yeah. My hair is completely back to its original pigment. Yeah, and mind you,
stink like bleach.
It was black dye. So that was annoying. Yeah, if you have any good recommendations for black dye, let me know.
For unbleached hair specifically.
Yeah, for unbleached hair specifically. Sorry, my hair is light, but it's not even like, I think it's like,
you're like a blondie brown hair.
Yeah.
Like, it's brown, but with kind of a blonde overtone.
Yeah, kids always used to say it was they'd call it dirty blonde.
I feel like it's a little darker than a dirty blonde.
Yeah,
but I can
agree.
see it being dirty blonde adjacent.
Yeah.
Anyway.
The one thing that trips me up about it is the fact that if they did include that as like a hey, maybe we'll put this in for people tape trading, it surprises me that they would get Horie to do that voiceover at the end. It just seemed a little
Why do you think it would be weird?
Just, it seemed a little too premeditated.
Well, I mean, if they knew that tape trading is a huge part of otaku, like,
yeah,
OVA culture,
that is true. I could definitely see it being the case.
Why not have beloved sweet little Yui Horie telling everyone how to...
I guess I assumed that they would have had to get her back in the booth for it.
They probably just recorded it preemptively, right?
They wouldn't have. Okay, so here's the thing, though. That
there's also nobody back then, so if they needed to call her back into the studio,
it is likely that they probably did just call her back in. But I don't think they would have done it in the same session. Yeah, I'm not really sure. Like, there's still a few mysteries about this thing. But at any rate, the last thing was I got a few questions asking what I meant when I say in the video, like, anime studios have been flayed by otaku for far less. Specifically, the footage that I show there is the TV airing of Lost Universe Episode 4, which was so infamously poorly animated because some people speculate what happened was that the reference sheets didn't make it to Korea when it was to be in between. So they just kind of had to guess based on the storyboards, and it came back looking really fucked up because the production was pretty low budget and there were production difficulties atop that. And so it was so infamous that like that studio's name was just synonymous with ridicule and with low quality productions from that point forward.
Yeah.
And I think it wound up kind of tanking the studio a little bit. And that episode has gone on to be so infamous that based on its name, a lot of episodes of anime that have a notably bad animation quality, like I think it's the 3rd, maybe the 5th episode of Gurren Lagann is I think probably one of the examples of that we over here would know because it didn't get fixed.
Yeah, I never watched it, but I remember everyone memeing on it when it came out.
That is referred to by otaku as a Yashigani episode.
That's brutal.
Yeah, it's really fucked up.
Imagine your name becoming synonymous with the shitty episode of an anime.
I know, seriously.
Nowadays you'll see a lot of, I mean, I don't know if this is a recent practice or if people did it back then too, but like when an anime is rushed to production, sometimes for like the DVD and Blu-ray releases, they'll fix it up a little bit. Yeah,
that's exactly what happened.
Do you know if that was the practice back then as well?
Yeah, that happened. Okay, that's why I specified it was the TV airing.
Oh, right. So they did fix it.
They did fix it afterward, but the damage was already done, which is the really fucked up part. Like I think they had to reanimate. Like, not even just touch up. They had to, like, fully reanimate most of that episode. God. But the damage is already done, which is crazy.
That practice is so fucked to me because it's like this time that you're spending fixing mistakes, you could have just given the production team more time so that they could make a good product to begin with. Like, what a waste.
I can't remember the name of the anime, but there was a particular mecha film anime that... also aired unfinished initially that also wound up getting finished for its home video releases. So I used a brief clip of that unfinished edit in the beginning of the Tenchi video because that there was so much anime being produced that Lost Universe and that other anime were essentially like casualties of the market being so inflated because of how successful Evangelion and shows like it were.
That always just makes me think about Sailor Moon Crystal. Although in that case I kind of feel like the outrage was at least a little bit justified, obviously not aimed at the actual like animators, but like dude, it's Sailor Moon.
That's literally like the most beloved shit ever.
How do you not dump like all the money in the world into that? It's probably like one of the most internationally beloved franchises ever.
And then lastly, I'm just going to read this comment from Rox Media. That's ROX Media.
Want me to read it?
I got it.
Okay.
The only thing to add is that Anonymous Russian Rippers was, and still is apparently, a Russian encoding group started in 2009 that mainly ripped anime from video releases, web streams, and Hong Kong bootleg DVDs. 9 out of 10 times, subtitles found in ARR, that's the guy who originally had... Rippers. Oh, yeah. Thank you. Yeah. Subtitles found in ARR's encodes had some of the strangest...
Chinese English?
Yeah, I don't know if I'm allowed to say that in full. Imaginable. Example, the English subs for Sword of Musashi have so many typos and inaccuracies that the main character was named 634, written out in numbers. That it felt like the subs were just machine translated from simplified Chinese.
I've owned DVDs that had English subs translated from simplified Chinese. Yeah, so Digicarrot Neo in particular, I don't think ever had a full American release. Like, I think some of it came out in English, but not all of it. There's a lot of episodes to that series. I want to say there's like 100 episodes or some shit. It's
oh my
long.
God. That's the children's anime, right?
No. You're thinking Panyo Panyo.
Oh.
This is Neo. It's different. It's different. This is the one where it's kind of a soft reboot of the franchise. Right. And then like in a later season, everyone goes to fucking princess school. I've never seen it in full myself.
That's crazy.
But as a kid, I really wanted to watch it, and obviously I was like less what's the word?
Savvy?
Yeah, savvy to bootlegs and recognizing obvious bootlegs. So, you know, when Digicarrot Neo full complete series, or maybe it wasn't the complete series, but with English subs came up on eBay, I was like, oh shit. Like English sub DVDs, I didn't know these existed.
Yeah.
So I got some of them, and they were incredibly clearly translated, like from Chinese to English, with all kinds of odd little idiosyncrasies. I think I've seen this before with Sonic X.
Oh, interesting.
I don't remember where I would have seen that, but it's
Sonic
funny.
X is one of those funny shows where like the demand for like people outside of Japan to have access to that show as it was airing was hot enough that like a lot of the translations that you'll find online are still like from when the show is airing.
Yeah.
And so they kind of have that very particular, like, we just got to get this out, that very sort of literal fan translations.
Yeah, this is only tangentially related, but this is why Pat Mac's video about like international DVD releases.
Yeah, partially, that video partially inspired my Sonic Underground video.
That's like one of my favorite videos of his.
Yeah. Okay, now on to questions.
Let's go. All right, Vivi says, hi, I just got done listening to your Weezer Filibuster podcast episode. Can't believe I listened to all 4 hours.
I can't believe you did either.
It got me wondering, is there any artist or band that you would love to go into an album deep dive about?
Nikki and I talked about doing a handful of other artists, and we just kind of came to the conclusion that it's way too much work for a podcast that we are doing just for fun. The Weezer episode was a lot of fun, but that also came at a time where like I had the time to listen to like 30 albums because the work that I was doing was so separate of like I whatever part of the video pipeline I was on at the time, I had the ability to listen to stuff while I was doing it. If I didn't, like, I wouldn't have been able to do that, and I haven't wanted to find the time to do a full other one since, even though there are plenty of bands I would really like to.
Yeah. I still need to read the rest of the book about jellyfish. That's an easy one.
Oh yeah, I haven't
I
even started that book yet. I'm such a fuck up. Yeah.
Gotta read it. Yeah, I don't think there are any other bands that I care about enough to think about in depth.
Yeah.
Skeleton Gwen says, what would you consider to be your holy grail of lost media? Like something you'd hope to just be found someday. Also love your work. Keep at it.
I
want to go away.
Tried very hard to think about this one before we started recording, and nothing came to me, which is annoying to me that I can't think of it, because I know that there are definitely plenty.
You're probably gonna think of it as soon as we finish recording.
I know.
I won't spoil what, but I actually recently acquired one of my like decade-long holy grails of lost media, and let's just say I'm working on something. About it with Hazel.
We're putting together a little something, and by that I mean a big something.
Yeah, it might take a while, so don't.
Yeah, I've got like 6 videos in the pipeline right now. It's just kind of a matter of which one seems the most viable to complete within a month's time when I sit down and evaluate what to work on next. Yeah, I wish I had better answers for this. I feel like they come up a lot when I'm researching. I feel like probably my answer is something that was canceled, which I know is slightly different than something that was once there and has been lost.
Yeah, I mean, I'm always curious about like early builds of canceled video games.
Earthbound 64 is a really big one for me.
Yeah, I'm still so shocked that what is it, like Dinosaur Planet?
Came
out at least in part. That was cool because I was so crazy to see more of that game.
Yeah.
This is not exactly lost media. In fact, I'm almost certain it's not, as long as I can just find the name, but I'm going to use the spot to put you guys to work. Like maybe 5 years ago, I think it was before I was living with Hazel, I read a manga offhandedly just because the art was pretty. I read fan translations because I don't think there was ever an official translation. All I remember is that it was about a prince and a princess, and the princess was like the one who was supposed to become the next ruler. And I feel like a couple volumes in, she's murdered. So the prince has to start cross-dressing as her and like take up her responsibilities for her. And I remember they might have been twins, but they might not have. I tweeted about this and nobody came up with the name. It isn't Versailles of the Dead, which a couple people thought it was. And despite its resemblance to the Akuno series, it has no relation to Vocaloid. If somebody can come up with what I'm thinking of, because, you know, I was like, oh, that's so specific,'ve got to be able to find it. But with isekai being so popular, and now the tags cross-dressing and royalty are just run-of-the-mill. Like, that's nowhere near specific enough. I also feel like maybe there was a servant boy or some kind of sidekick boy who had some homoerotic tension with the prince boy, but I don't remember if that was just in my head or if that was textual. So I don't know if that helps. I remember the art being pretty.
I've been scrolling through the pictures on my phone completely arbitrarily in hopes that it might trigger my memory for a particular holy grail, but nothing is coming to mind.
That's okay.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
Goji Dragon says, I've been wondering if it wouldn't be neat to go to in person to secondhand stores in Japan looking for lost or unknown anime. Japan is interesting in that it had so much openness to just produce your own stuff back in the day. Do you think there's stuff like this still being produced in such low quantities that it becomes obscure by default? What's your opinion on modern lost media?
Well, something that really fascinated me about Arisa is that it was clearly such an exception from the perspective of it being such a small anime production and being released in the context that it was. I think that the majority of stuff that kind of is released and is obscure by default, so to speak, are things that just plainly don't require the budget, the staff, and like the manpower that something like anime does. Yeah, simply because there are just more of those.
Sure. Yeah, I mean, with the way releasing things in an indie realm work now online, I feel like it's so much harder for stuff to go totally lost in the same way. Stuff like Arisa Good Luck and other small OVAs at the time were definitely kind of I feel like a unique result of like just raw otaku passion plus like you know, like the stuff of that caliber couldn't be made with that small of a staff and a budget without just like raw horny love for the project. Although it doesn't remind me that the reason I'm so like enamored with things like doujinshi is because of their inherently like limited quantity. Like most doujin artists don't sell PDFs of their books because that draws a profit. Like they only sell enough to cover the cost of production. And I've recently learned that a lot of doujin artists want you to destroy their books if you ever get rid of them. Like, don't sell them secondhand. They want you to set it on fire. So I feel like that's kind of the closest modern equivalent to OVAs being produced in such small quantity and then being lost so easily.
That, and then like just small physical only music releases. Yeah, it's crazy. Animation is so fucking expensive and hard to make. It's like almost impossible to not preserve it. Yeah, exactly.
It takes like gross negligence to totally lose animation nowadays. Sorry, do you have anything else to say about that?
No.
Okay.
My opinion of modern lost media is that a lot of the time I find that these days it's kind of the byproduct of like, you know, things like copyright law, kind of having a tighter grip over art, like certain Mario fan games getting shut down, or like even just like, stuff like Flash being gone now. Thankfully, there was enough warning that it could be preserved. And I think people are getting hip to like, oh, like we got to make sure that everything on the PSP store has been backed up and all that. But
yeah, preservation efforts are a lot more thorough nowadays.
That does make modern lost media like all the more fascinating when it does occur on like a bigger scale like that, because you kind of have to ask, like, we all know the term lost media, so how does this continue happening?
I just like thinking about how much stuff I've deleted that's ostensibly lost media now, but nobody cares about it. Like if lost media falls over in an empty forest, no one's around to hear it. It doesn't make a sound. Actually, a dog says, forgive me if this is inelegantly phrased, but as someone who is publicly online, how do you keep a healthy separation between work life, parasocial relationships, and actual friendships? Would you have any advice for someone who wants to create content that's personal and engage with an audience, but maintain health balance between the personal and the public? Most importantly, do y'all have snacks? I think we all feel bad about starving you guys in increasingly long Q&A vids. Hazel made delicious breakfast burritos. So
I made breakfast burritos and I made fresh salsa
before we started recording this time.
I think it's a process for literally everybody who makes videos for the internet.
Or just content in general.
Or just, like everybody online, I think it's a constant work in progress. It sounds so callous to put it this way, but I think a big part of it for me is just not like allowing for much contact between myself and people who like what I do.
Yeah,
it sounds really cold.
Being very mindful about when you allow it.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
To what degree?
Exactly. Yeah. Like I think I've kind of had to adopt a heavier-handed approach than I would like. Stuff like me not having a contact email and things like that. It's like a little like maybe quote unquote strict, but like. For me, it is really difficult and overwhelming to wrap my head around certain facets of being a creator online. Like I'll have friends say sometimes like, oh yeah, I was over at a friend's house and they were like, you gotta check out this YouTuber. And I'm just like, oh God, that's so much to think about. We recently heard that a friend of a friend's dad was watching one of my videos on a whim, and that...
Shout-outs to dads in the fandom. Shout-outs to the Hazel Dad gang.
It's just so wild to think about. It's kind of a lot to compartmentalize.
Yeah.
As far as, work life and friendships, like... I have a really tight-knit group of people who I just I don't have to think about being friends with them, if that makes sense. Like, it just sort of comes naturally, and it doesn't feel like what I do has any bearing in that. If I felt like that was the case, I don't think I could continue, maintaining a friendship like that,
I think the important thing is to, for sure, maintain, like, a strong core friendship group that loves and respects you outside of what it is you produce online. I think it also helps that Hazel's not like particular. Like Hazel uses the internet, but she is not a very online person. Like I usually have to tell you about new memes and stupid shit like that.
Yeah,
because you're not really like browsing the web in the same way.
No,
a lot of other social media addicts like myself do.
And I gotta say, I think I'm a little healthier for that.
Yeah, it's kind of something you have to do if you want to keep a healthy line between yourself and your job, ostensibly. Yeah, definitely. I have Alyssa moderate my comments. I just delete the ones that annoy me these days. I'll like glance at your comments and be like, that was stupid. Goodbye. Totally arbitrary. So if a totally harmless but stupid comment goes missing, it was probably me.
Sometimes the really harmless ones are the ones that annoy me the most.
I can't stand people who... Okay, never mind. I'm not going to say it. I just get... I have a much more hair trigger low patience than Hazel does. Let's put it that way.
Yeah, but I also, like... I'd say, like, I'm kind of skittish when it comes to being like a person online that people know of and have access to. It was actually part of the reason I was a little apprehensive about picking streaming back up. I wasn't really sure what the crowd was going to look like.
Everyone's been very nice.
Everyone's been great, honestly.
Keep it up or else it's going away. Don't spoil it for the rest of them. No, just kidding.
Yeah, I just, I really enjoyed the crowd that gets drawn over there. It's a big relief.
Okay, I'll just say it because me not saying it sounds more ominous. I can't stand when people, like, clearly don't get that you're joking and they try to, like, well, actually, your jokes in the comments. Like, I can't believe you pronounce Komaeda Nagito that way. It's like, do you not hear the smile in Hazel's voice as she says that?
It doesn't take very much context to hear the way I pronounce literally any other word in that video to know that that was a joke.
So many people were tweaked that you pronounced Komaeda incorrectly.
I can't imagine pronouncing that name more wrong. Like, I don't... Anyway, Jesus. That and then the fucking in the fucking OVA video, I jokingly call SMT a Pokemon ripoff.
Oh my god, people were so mad about that.
I showed a fucking picture of the live action Jack Frost movie. How do I get across the fact that it was a joke more?
Average SMT enjoyers.
Look at the subjects of my videos. I have fucking freak brain. I'm not normal.
Yeah.
Of course I know that Shin Megami Tensei predicted predated Pokemon. Fuck.
Yeah, it's jokes and comments like that where I get, like, irrationally, like, even when they're not, like, bossy about it, like, Hazel, does Bunny, whatever, Rascal Bunny dream of Senpai, whatever the fuck that title is, that's not an isekai. I'm like, delete. I don't care. Shut up. Idiot. No, I'm sorry. I don't mean it. I'm joking.
The one person who commented about it in Patreon, who is just sort of more amused by the mistake than anything, is valid. Nobody else, though.
No, some people were, like, actually mad at you in your comments. Those are the people I mean, where I'm like, dude, chill. It's just a joke. Be nice. Be nice or perish. I'll delete your comment. Okay, I'm done being mean now. Gabbo the Rat. Also, none of that was directed at you. Actually, dog, your question was all normal. I just started rambling.
No, yeah, we're specifically talking about, like, bottom of the barrel YouTube comments that come in from people who just watch a video and go into, like, baby sensory mode and then, like, never watch another video of mine again outside of the one thing that propels them to leave an angry comment.
Yeah, I'm just... Whoa.
Yeah, I think that closing statement on that, like, if you find that you're somebody who, how do I put it? If you find that it's putting a lot of additional pressure on you to kind of, like, engage with an audience, you simply don't have to.
Yeah,
or you can curate the way that you do it.
Get a homie to moderate your comments for you.
Yeah,
TLDR.
or just don't look at them, you know?
I highly recommend not reading everything people say about you.
Yeah,
I think that's one of the healthiest
brain.
things you can do for yourself as someone who makes things. I work for someone who gets a lot of comments about him and his life, and I would watch him after we posted stuff, and he would read for, like, the first couple hours, because that's when the fans' comments come in, and he would heart them and engage with them, and then he would stop reading.
Yeah, that's kind of I kind of stole that principle from him, more or less.
I think that's smart.
Like, when a video gets to be more than about a month or two old, the only new comments that come in are fucking idiots.
I mean, not always. Sometimes it's newcomers, but
yeah.
That's when the trolls were more likely to start trickling in.
Not even the trolls, just, like, the people who don't know how to pay, like, understand. I'm trying not to be mean. I really value the audience that I've curated, and I think that every time a video gets popular, like beyond a certain size, it makes me all the more grateful that I don't have like a really big audience. And that like I kind of would like to not necessarily see exponential growth. You know, like YouTube really hounds you for not constantly seeing exponential growth.
Yeah.
But that's them wanting to wring as much money out of you as possible.
Yeah, that's another thing. Sorry, this is kind of a long-winded answer, but like social media will really try to force creators to, like, it'll poke and encourage you in ways that are not good for you.
Yeah.
Like, this is kind of an unrelated example, but Etsy likes to try to remind its sellers, oh, buyers like free shipping. You should up your prices and make the shipping free. Like, that is actively something Etsy has repeatedly tried to encourage its sellers to do.
I think eBay does the same thing.
Yeah, and it's like, on its face, it's like, yeah, you're right. Like, like average buyers prefer free shipping. Sure, that might be algorithmically true, but like, that's not a good business practice. It's not even like a very ethical one, and it's not one that's particularly feasible for most indie sellers. Like, charging essentially a tax to domestic buyers so that international buyers can also buy. I don't know, it's just not very fair. So don't listen to what social media websites encourage you to do. Do what's healthy for you. Set your own schedule. And Hazel's talked up and down about setting healthy schedules for yourself. So.
Yeah, I find that allowing yourself, or almost like sort of forcing yourself to completely disengage with work, makes you less likely to engage with those things that kind of creep out from work. Like, you know, I
have one more thing to say, because I follow some like up and coming creators out there, like people who are newly seeing success either on YouTube or Twitter or whatever. I know how tempting it is, but don't waste time dunking on people being assholes to you, or like weird discourse that pops up in your comments, or like truly all you do by shining a light on that is give those people the attention that they wanted from you.
Yeah. And I understand the like,
I totally
it's really frustrating to feel misrepresented by a comment, and to feel a kind of insistent urge to clarify. But if somebody's not coming at you in good faith, they're not going to change their ways. And I know that sounds pessimistic, but it's better to operate with that in mind when you're thinking about engaging with people who are coming at you like that, because that's not part of your job.
No, it's
at the end of the day.
And I mean, it's not good for you, and they're probably not going to engage you in good faith.
No.
And then all it does is expose your followers to like a bunch of fighting that you have to do.
Yeah, and there's so much of that online already that is so unproductive, and I just don't think there's need to continue perpetuating that.
No.
Like, I've always been of the mindset that, like, if I feel the need to weigh in on something, it'll be in a video, you know? Where I can really thoroughly think through all of it. I remember watching Trihex, of all people, talking about what his experience as a creator is like, and something that he shared, which is like such a duh thing that I don't think I'd really thought about, was like, you know, if something comes up, be it politics or something to do with my channel or my community, and I know that I'm having a very emotional reaction to it, I'll write out a tweet and I'll just save it to my drafts. I'll come back to it in a few hours.
I do that all the time.
And if I'm still feeling that when I come back to it, you know, I'll usually be able to word it in a way that feels more eloquent and will leave less room for misinterpretation, and it will be more productive to the people who follow what I do, and for me, and the people who want to engage with that in good faith.
Well, that's where I think having a good supportive like friend group or peer group that kind of like knows how you feel about those things is important, because then you can just talk about it with them, get it off your mind. Because I know for me, if I don't talk about something to somebody, I explode. So it's like always really tempting to go off, but it's better for your health and for your audience and for the kinds of engagements you encourage from your audience.
And I think that, like, I don't mean to turn myself into some, like, example of how to do it right, because obviously everything is a big work in progress, but, like, I'm always so shocked by how beautifully worded the first, like, few hours of comments in particular are.
Oh, yeah. The comments you get from, like, your proper, like, fans are always really nice.
Yeah. Not only are they nice, they're, like,
very
insightful.
Thoughtful. Yeah.
And oftentimes I come away from reading those comments feeling like, fuck, I should have talked about that more. Or like, oh, that's such a good point.
Sure. Yeah, I mean, even the criticisms or, like, corrections are usually very, like, thoughtful.
Yeah, and in a way sort of inspiring in and of itself. And I think that that's a really amazing thing that I have. And that is the element of, you know, the people who watch my videos that I kind of prefer to hone in on a little bit. Like, it really means a lot that people who, like, you know, who how do I put it? Like, I don't know, it just means a lot that people who know more about a subject that I'm covering than me can still stomach to watch what I do.
It's an honor.
It is.
Yeah, and that's the kind of engagement you want to spend your energy encouraging. Yeah. Like, again, the person I work for, he, you know, goes through and hearts comments of, like, people in the first couple hours after he posts something, because, like, not only is it, you know, it's totally free and easy to heart comments on YouTube, but he's like, I want to show people not only that I appreciate them, but to encourage, you know, kind engagement. My words, not his exactly, but just, you know, foster the audience that you like, not the one that annoys you, is essentially what I'm saying.
Definitely.
I feel like I kind of went on a tangent from what this original question was, but hopefully I think that was useful.
I think that those are all things that are good to know before you start doing something or before you start seeing a certain amount of success, because it can be really miserable and embarrassing to experience those growing pains before an audience.
Form good habits right out the get-go.
Yeah.
Because otherwise you'll keep, you know, engaging in the same way.
Yeah.
Gabba the Rat says, I was curious on how often you find yourself going on lost media hunts like these. I've personally found myself countless times noticing something, usually relating to obscure PS1 Japanese media, and finding myself down a rabbit hole searching for information or a piece of promised or implied media, only to end up at a dead end. On a slightly related yet still unrelated note, do you have any intention of covering obscure 4th generation PS1 and N64 games, stuff like Evil Zone, Battle Hunter, the Evangelion N64 game, Digimon World Series, etc., etc.?
I suggest you watch my friend Thor High Heels. I bit my tongue while I was saying that. Thor High Heels for more
like PS1
coverage of that stuff. Yeah. I always want to, but I find that I have a hard time figuring out how to package videos on that subject.
Well, I feel like you don't even necessarily set out to make lost media videos. You just accidentally stumble across topics while doing research.
Yeah. No, I mean, lost media stuff is just like... I think that there's kind of like almost like a poetic tragedy to it, that or like a sort of unjustness that kind of strikes at something latent within me that makes me want to kind of explore that and extrapolate on it. I just kind of wind up making videos about things that speak to me, and sometimes it's lost media or adjacent to lost media, and sometimes it's stuff that's totally out in the open.
Like Sonic the Hedgehog.
Like Sonic the freaking Hedgehog, baby.
Anything else to say on that matter?
No.
All right. Elijah Siddiqui says, hey, Hazel and Alyssa, and wonder if he's there too. I love him. He's always there. I'm looking at him taking a nap right behind us. Been really enjoying the recent videos. Wondering if either of y'all had any thoughts on any of Clamp's works. Also unrelated, but I've been listening to a lot of Twinkle Park lately and noticed that you don't post lyrics with your songs. Was kind of curious if there was a reason for that. Thanks again for the great content, guys.
I'll answer the second question first. I just kind of... They're just for me. That's kind of all there is to it. I just kind of appreciate being able to keep them close to the chest.
Hazel shy. Hazel becomes a content creator but doesn't want anyone to know her.
I know.
Just kidding. Somewhat. I love Clamp.
Yeah, me too.
Angelic Layer was, I mean, not like one of my first anime, but like one of the earlier anime I watched back in the renting DVDs from Netflix days. It's funny that Angelic Layer was my first exposure to Clamp, when I feel like as far as Clamp goes, that's like one of the lesser, like one of the bottom of the barrel, like everyone's like Chobits, Cardcaptor Sakura, Tsubasa, which is like, or even Holic.
Yeah,
I feel
Holic
like people like
comes
more.
up a lot, yeah.
But no, it was Angelic Layer for me. I love Cardcaptor Sakura. I've forced Hazel to watch some of it. We need to finish it.
It's one of my favorite magical girl shows.
Yeah, we gotta finish it. Dude, we haven't even gotten to the good shit.
I know.
And I badly want to watch the movies with you.
I know.
The second movie is like one of my favorite parts of that series. But anyway, I like Clamp. Clamp is interesting because, like, I mean, obviously they're a group of artists and writers, so there's a lot of differences in, like, the tones and genres they've covered over the years. They can be, how to put it, like, they really know how to make their characters, like, thought out and lovable, but they can also have some huge dumb guy energy when it comes to their plots and, like, overarching stories.
Yeah.
In a way that I kind of admire.
Yeah, definitely. Like, it still manages to work.
Okay, so enormous spoilers for Angelic Layer, but it's fucking old and no one gives a shit about it. So I'm just gonna say, if you care about Angelic Layer spoilers, then I guess skip like 5 minutes ahead or whatever. The anime and the manga are totally different. Like, they both end in totally different ways. In the anime, Misaki, the main girl, well, in both of them, she hasn't seen her mom in a long time. She's been raised by her aunt for like the last handful of years. And she wants to meet her mom again. And then, I don't know if she finds out that her mom's involved in Angelic Layer or some shit. But anyway, in the anime, the big climax is she meets up with her mom and finds out that her mom has been wheelchair bound for the last several years. And part of why she's involved in Angelic Layer is because they're using Angelic Layer research of, like, using your mind to control dolls as secondhand research for advanced prosthetics, like for creating entire human prosthetics to help people who've been, like, paralyzed or disabled. So what she wanted was to, like, perfect this research with Ichan and, like, get her body fixed, essentially, so that she could go back to being, like, a good whole mother for Misaki. In the manga, there's none of that. She's totally able-bodied, no sickness, no mysterious anime mom sickness. She hasn't seen her daughter in years because she's shy around people she loves too much. I'm not shitting you. That is the entire climax of her abandoning her daughter. Apparently, she was like this with her husband, too, and could barely look him in the face. So how they had sex and had a daughter is fucking beyond me.
That is so
Imagine
crazy.
having an infant child and being like, I'm sorry, I gotta put you on a doorstep somewhere. I love you too much. It grosses me out to look at you because I love you so much.
That's so crazy.
It's fucking weird as shit. So it's like stuff like that where I'm like, dude, like, Clamp makes bangers. Like, it makes some of the most lovable characters ever of all time. And then they'll write shit like that and I'm like, what? Or like Chobits being like, the crux of it is like,
Are you about to spoil a second Clamp work in the same
Everyone
section?
knows this. He's like, I put the on button in my robot daughter's pussy.
Oh, that,
because
yeah.
I only wanted someone who really loves her to own her. And I'll flood the goddamn world if you don't actually love her.
Yeah.
It's like, bro, what?
It's really insane
What are you talking about? you that was a bad idea.
It has never been a problem the entire time I've had it there. That is entirely on you. I love you, but that's your fault. That's your fault. You were swinging your arms around like a goddamn maniac.
Well, how do you expect me to sit here and not swing my arms around like a goddamn maniac?
I like Clamp. I like something that I think is really interesting about Clamp is that like they're kind of a rare example of a group that like started out as a doujin circle and still maintains several members of that doujin circle, but like they don't necessarily carry like really like doujin-y energy.
Not these days anyway.
Yeah.
I need to clarify. Hazel's got 2 cups full of like stationery on the edge of her desk, and the second I sat down next to it, I said, "This is a bad idea," and she said, "No, it's fine there." And now she's acting like I'm the stupid one, for bumping it.
All right, how many times have I knocked it over?
Well,
0.
Usually you sit at your desk by yourself. Now I'm crammed in here with you and your cups on the edge of the desk. Like, fuck, you set me up for failure here. Anyway, I like Clamp. They're stupid sometimes, but I like them.
Yeah.
I like their contrived plots. I think it's charming. That's all I have to say. Hazel has shamed me live on air. Kestrel says, I'm currently in the process of hunting down a Japan-only strategy guide from the 80s, and Yahoo Auctions is looking like my best option for obtaining a copy of it. Do you have any advice for purchasing items off there?
I don't.
I'm a proxy.
Yeah, get a proxy. I've talked to other people who use proxies, and everybody has a different proxy that they like and that is the one for them.
Just read reviews. I like Bai. I've seen people say Bai fuck them over.
Yeah.
I've never experienced that.
But Bai, a lot of people say has like really high
fees.
Mm. A lot of people prefer, I think White Rabbit Express is the name of it for that reason. But honestly, I use Bai because it has the simplest integration.
Yeah. I'm a creature of routine. If I do something once and it worked that time, I'll just keep doing it until it stops working.
Same here.
I used Bai once and it worked, so I just keep doing it.
Same here.
That's my only advice. Ronikel says, thank you for the video. Seeing the use of some devices to douse in the depths of old archives and file formats got me wondering. What are some of the most obscure, weirdest, or dumbest skills you two have had to learn, whether for a video's sake or someone else?
Oh, gosh.
Interesting. I mean, I feel like learning Japanese was like... learning, quote-unquote, makes it sound like it's not an ongoing process, but part of why I even bothered trying to teach myself as a kid when resources were poor was purely because I wanted to know more.
Yeah.
About like media I was interested in.
I feel like just kind of like getting a sense for overly academic writing was really important as a hurdle for me to get over, but it's also very stupid because a lot of overly academic writing is fucking nonsense baby dreck that just sounds more complicated than it is. You have to wade through a lot of that to find the occasional nugget of really good information that hasn't been translated or proliferated in English elsewhere. Mm-hmm. So it's like, a lot of kind of like needle in haystack sort of behavior. I think that another big part of it is like a skill that I had to learn specifically for videos that I didn't really think I would need to is just like coming to understand how certain aspects of HTML works. Sometimes I'll be looking for an article and the link will be broken and it won't be backed up on the Wayback Machine, but I'll realize like, oh, this is a different format of URL from like an older version of the website. So if I can figure out how it should be written, like I can get where I need to, or sometimes I'll be having a hard time using a search feature on a particular website and I'll just be like, okay, here's the format of their URLs. I'm just going to punch in the name of the thing I'm looking for.
Love finds a way.
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm laughing nervously because I'm like psychically imagining myself knocking the shit over again. It's making me nervous.
I moved some of them so that there's less room for it to be knocked over.
I know, I just don't...
I would really like to find just like a nice heavy object that I can prop up against all of these, but like...
I feel like you should just get some like small vertical shelving for your desk.
Yeah, it would be really nice. We'll see what
Maybe
kind of setup
next
I'll
time.
have after we've moved.
Yeah. PowerCell Freak says, hey there, I was wondering how you both would recommend learning about media literacy, things like theming and character writing and understanding a work more thoroughly in general. I'd like to engage with art on a deeper level than thing good, thing bad. Are there any learning resources you would recommend? Also, any thoughts on Jack and Daxter and Klonoa? I fucking love Klonoa.
Klonoa's great.
He's my little guy.
Klonoa 1 is like one of the best platformers ever made.
Mm-hmm. I love Klonoa too as well.
Yeah, Klonoa. Well, I just specified that one because
of
it's the one that I know more about.
Mm-hmm.
Jack and Daxter, I'm not super familiar with. I played a bit of the first one as a kid.
Did that one get a movie? Is that the movie I saw? Did they get a CG movie?
No, that was Ratchet and Clank.
Oh, that was Ratchet and Clank. Whoops.
Yeah, I always get those two confused, and I also occasionally get them confused with Sly Cooper, except not as much now because I've actually played one of the Sly Coopers.
I would never mistake anyone for my husband, Sly Cooper.
Can you believe this? I'm getting fucking two-timed by a goddamn raccoon.
I mean, he's a thief, so...
He quite literally stole my bitch.
I have a friend who really loves Jack and Daxter, so I'm like fond of them secondhand, even though I know nothing about them.
As far as media literacy is concerned, honestly, I mean, obviously, if you watched my channel, you know that I'm like a big pervert for context. Mm-hmm. I really think it's valuable to try to go to the source of things and see how seeds planted by one work exist in later works in very different forms.
Mm-hmm. Media literacy is kind of, in my eyes, like an ongoing growth process. Like,
absolutely.
No one as like a teenager is like media literate.
Yeah.
You just don't have the time to be. I think treating media like academic papers, like Hazel said, like look at a given piece of work's sources, so to speak, and go to those and find those sources.
I also think it just really helps to analyze your reactions to things because, you know, I genuinely think that criticism is just sort of an extrapolation on the very sort of rawly emotional reaction that you have to a piece of media. And I think that there are a lot of different ways that can manifest.
Yeah. Make sure you're finding analysis and criticisms from different points of view too.
Yeah, extremely.
Even when I'm reading stuff from people I agree with, I feel like, I don't know, it can kind of give you a myopic view of how to break down a piece of media.
Yeah.
You know, even just over the last few years, I feel like I've grown a larger appreciation for more kinds of things. My bachelor's is essentially in an entertainment field, so I feel like I spent a lot of time thinking about what makes good story, like on a very mechanical level. I mean, you see this a lot with like kids who religiously follow like Disney and Pixar's like little like the recipe for the 5 saddest minutes of your life, whatever. Like, the hero's journey, the 3-act structure, whatever.
I think that stuff is important to come to understand, but I also think that the more I've come to understand it, the more I've rejected almost all of it.
Well, it's important to understand that stuff, and it's important to understand what breaks those rules successfully and why.
Yeah.
It's the same as writing. Like, I don't like a lot of writing and art advice because it's very regimented, kind of by necessary, because when you're young and inexperienced with something, you need some guidelines to go off of. Yeah. It's hard to say, oh, just break the rules when you don't even know what rules there are to be broken.
Yeah.
I think, you know, for media literacy, it's also important to engage with lots of different kinds of art. Like, I'll see a lot of, like, aspiring writers who only read other amateur writers, like fan fiction, which is fine.
Yeah.
Fan fiction has a lot of great writers in there, but if you're only ever engaging with people who are not to put it negatively, but like only as good as you and not like better or like more experienced or more varied than you and their influences, you're gonna stagnate. So,
yeah. I also think that it's really, really important to understand things outside of like the one art form that you like.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I think a pitfall a lot of anime fans fall into, and I think the reason a lot of like anime fans as a concept are just not respected by people in other fields is because a lot of those people tend to only know about anime.
Yeah.
Like, it's why people make fun of people for saying, oh, Japanese jazz, that sounds like Persona 5.
yeah.
Which, like, you know, I everybody has to start somewhere.
Sure.
And I think that it's a little silly to, like, act like that's, like, the death of art.
Sure.
That people are reacting that way. But I also think that, like, you know, as like a really, really literal example, it's crazy to me to think that there are kids who saw Soul Eater before watching Twin Peaks, for example.
Oh yeah, it's so crazy to me how many people don't realize how many Twin Peaks references are in that show.
Yeah, and that's something that you can kind of come to theoretically understand by reading about it, you know, in like the trivia section of a wiki. But I think it's another thing to be able to very directly apply that to things as you're watching something. Because, like, you know, I think in a sense you're kind of training your brain to make connections on the spot that make your reactions clearer to parse. The more you kind of have under your belt, the more you're able to
make connections.
Yeah, just the more accurately you're able to respond to things. And I think invariably, if you're doing it right, the more things you'll be able to enjoy.
Only just recently, in the last couple of years, have I started branching out and reading like Japanese literature, like books, like fiction or you know, autobios or whatever. You know, I've mostly been going for like really famous stuff. Murakami and what's the really depressed guy's name? Dazai, yeah. Not that I necessarily recommend Dazai or Murakami, but
I think I would recommend Dazai before Murakami, which is insane to say out loud.
I would rather read about how much Dazai hates himself than read about how much Murakami anything he thinks about women. But anyway,
it's insane.
I still think it was incredibly entertaining and valuable for me to read those books and to be branching out reading more Japanese literature, especially really famous seminal ones, because you can see the DNA of like certain archetypes, tropes, influences, whatever, in other, you know, media forms, even in anime and manga. And that's fun. It's fun to like something that you like and say, what made this the way that it is? You know, what does the person who made it like?
Yeah.
And then you can kind of branch out and like those things too. I think listening to music and becoming more music literal is exactly the same.
Yeah,
you get a lot of people who are like, oh, I love future funk or whatever. It's like, well, why don't you listen to some city pop and then go back further, listen to some jazz and funk and all the stuff, and you know, Shibuya. And the more you branch out, the more you see the DNA of what you like in modern stuff and like older stuff. Not to be like, oh, the old thing is better than the new thing or the derivative thing.
No, but understanding how things are derivative and how the things are derivative successfully versus unsuccessfully is, I think, a really, really important skill.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's fun. It's like a free recommendation.
Yeah, that's it is so much fun to be able to make those connections.
Luggy says, you mentioned near the end of the video that due to Japan's differences in copyright laws, Japan has a different approach when it comes to lost media. What exactly is so different about Japanese copyright laws that would stop a Western approach to find and archive lost media? And how exactly do Japanese otaku approach said lost media?
A lot of lost media or just like rare media in general among otaku are traded around in private forums and private FTP servers where they're really selective about who's let in and who's not, strictly because they want to make sure that the people who have access to it are going to really thoroughly enjoy it, and I think by extension kind of like respect it more, which is totally understandable, even though it's not necessarily a mindset that I agree with at a very raw level. I think that as far as Japan's copyright laws, they do tend to be a good bit stricter. In the literal sense, not so much in the like these things are litigated on all the time sense, but like you can never be too careful. And I think especially I liken it to laws about sampling and stuff in music in America, where nobody wants to be the asshole who gets busted playing it a little bit too loose and then having a court set precedent for future cases to litigate against small creators.
So what I just brought up earlier about doujinshi and doujinshi artists having like a pretty strict unspoken rule of conduct. That being never selling doujinshi for profit, which is unique because in America, there are people who make livings off of fan merch. I think that goes to speak volumes to how different our copyright litigacy is. There's sort of an attitude in fan spaces, especially of like, they are specially turning a blind eye to us breaking the law in this specific realm because they know it's out of a passion for the series. Therefore, we have to be very careful not to overstep and take it too far so that it fucks over the whole economy we've established here. That's also why you see a lot of Japanese fan artists be a lot stricter about reposting fan art because they want the ability to nuke their accounts should they feel things have gotten too far or they've overstepped with their fan art or whatever. If people are reposting it makes it harder for them to
scrub that.
That.
I think it's interesting because like there are certain instances where there's express permission. Like obviously Toho is the big one a lot of people know about, but like I was reading about a particular Doujin Soft circle who got express permission from a lot of the companies that they were making derivative works of.
Oh, wow.
As they were going along.
What were they making derivative works for? I'm curious.
It was Inside Cap. So they were making conversion software, and I think they got express approval from, I don't want to say which groups. I know Leaf was one of them, maybe. Type Moon almost certainly was one of them, and I think maybe 07th Expansion.
I wish I had read up on it so I could talk about it now, but did you see that there was some kind of controversy
about the Yukuri?
The Yukuri meme?
Yeah. I also really want to read into that, but I haven't been able to...
Yeah, I haven't had the time.
Yeah.
But I found that interesting because Toho has kind of been a unique shining beacon of like popular Japanese India media that has...
India media?
Indie media.
Okay, yeah.
My brain just died.
It's okay.
Indie media that just plays very fast and loose with like essentially turning it to socialism OCs for everyone.
Like I think Zun's willingness to step in only when he feels it's absolutely necessary is a really beautiful part of that franchise.
Like their entire...
It almost feels wrong to call it a franchise, but I don't know what the better term would be.
Entity.
Yeah.
Their entire Japanese DTM musicians who got their start in Toho Doujin cities.
Yeah.
That's its whole own economy.
Everything comes back to Toho. The first posted Vocaloid song was a
Toho cover.
Yeah, a Toho cover of a Cherno character
At least
song.
the first Japanese Vocaloid posted song.
Thank you.
English Vocaloids existed. And
yeah.
I think some content existed of them. Just nobody cared because it wasn't anime. Kitty Foe says, would you recommend that someone hunt down DVDs of obscure anime? And how much money do you usually spend when you buy VHS or DVDs of a series? I would love to update the Arisa Good Luck Anime's details on my anime list, but it seems impossible.
Well, as far as Arisa Good Luck goes, you shouldn't need to buy your own copy. I scanned the front and back of the DVD, which has some of the credit information, and then obviously the rest of the credits are in the credits for the OVA itself. Generally, though, I don't know that I can necessarily blankly recommend or not recommend hunting down DVDs of obscure.
What interests you.
Yeah, it's just all a matter of whatever speaks to you. I can't really make much of a value call on how much one should spend on things either.
Hazel and I are big fans of rooting through stuff that nobody cares about, so despite our hoarding tendencies, neither of us really spends that much on a lot of the stuff we hoard.
Yeah, I tend not to like spending a lot of money. So like, you know, a lot of the anime DVDs that I do own, I've either owned since I was like a tween or I bought for like $5.
I do miss living close to a book off.
I know. I really wish that there was a closer equivalent here.
Yeah, I miss rooting through all the random shit. I love when we would go to Book Off and there would be like clearly someone's like Ida collection of some anime boy like freshly offloaded. Like, wow, there sure is a lot of this one free character.
Yeah.
all over the Book Off today.
Yeah. I would always gravitate to the parts of the store where they just clearly put stuff up without much care.
Yeah, just dumps it into a bin.
Yeah, like I have an art book by the character designer of Gitaru Man that we looked it up. It goes for like $60 on eBay. I got it for like $2.
Yeah, $2
at a Book Off, just because I saw it there and I recognized the art style.
Miss that.
I know, I really do. But yeah, you know, stuff like that is tends to be what I find like worthwhile purchasing decisions. I don't want to like disavow like, oh, you shouldn't spend a lot of money on something that seems important to you, but I would say that for as much as I like owning these things, I don't consider myself a collector, and I try not to think from a collector's mindset.
Yeah. Collecting kind of makes me itchy, especially because we don't have a lot of physical space to collect stuff. I'm really kind of the mindset of only getting things that I will love in multiple years down the line.
Yeah.
TK says, hey folks, great video, but straight to business. Feel free to pick and choose out of these questions. Do you have any further thoughts on Comiket that would inspire you to make a video on it? And would y'all ever want to attend a Comiket?
I absolutely have further thoughts. Invariably, it's going to inform almost everything that I make because it's such an important part of the kind of creative cycle and the constant creative conversation that is anime and manga.
I wish I could specifically travel back in time and go to an older Comiket.
Yeah, I don't want to go to one now.
I would go now, though, still.
They seem too busy.
I would go just to buy doujinshi. I feel like that would be such a blast.
I would be so overwhelmed by how many people are there.
Well, if anyone ever wants to take me to a winter Comiket,
I mean, I would go if I had the opportunity. I think I would rather go to a smaller event.
I will go.
Like there are smaller, similar events that I think would be a lot more bearable to visit. True.
I mean, fandoms are so centralized now thanks to social media that like people will do doujin events just for a specific fandom, and sometimes just for a specific pairing if it's big enough. Like there is still a yearly Danganronpa doujinshi event.
That's so wild.
It's called Break Shot. Aww. If you're ever curious about it.
That's really cute.
Yeah, so every year I get Buresho. Like, everyone's like, all right, here's my doujinshi for the 20th year in a row for this fucking video game. And I'm like, God, the dedication. I love doujinshi. I love otaku fandom culture. I just worry that much like American conventions, I mean, I don't know how true this is, but I have to imagine it's been, what's the word? Like, kind of... like it's too commercialized.
You know, I don't tend to get that sense from it.
Maybe Comic-Con's not, but American cons are for sure. Like the vibe of an American anime convention now is utterly different than it was like 10 years ago.
Yeah.
It's got a lot less of that DIY, like just we're just here because we're passionate, like really passionate and really want to find other people passionate about this thing. Like everyone likes anime now. And it's, like, socially acceptable for normal people to like anime now. So I feel like everyone goes to anime cons, and, like, there's nothing, like, particularly unified about the spirit of them anymore.
I think you see it more outside of the actual facets of a given con.
Mm-hmm. I don't know. I just see so many Funko Pops, and even the artist alley is so like professional and glossy.
Yeah.
Makes me wistful for the olden days. But I would still go to a Comic-Con. So if anyone wants to take me to a Comic-Con, let me know. I will go with you. I'll teach you how to say. I'll teach you how to say, "Please, where is the bathroom?" And do you have any porn?
Let's hear them both. Let's do a little language lesson.
トイレはどこですか?
Okay.
And エッチな本とかありませんかな? So something like that.
I wonder if that's actually how people ask.
I mean, probably not.
Like,
that's just off the dome.
Yeah.
But I'm a gaijin, so
yeah,
I can say it wrong. It's fine.
You're right. Yeah, you'll get Jozu's anyway.
I'm so Jozu, yay! Any thoughts on how U.S. zine culture, interesting, compared to Japanese doujinshi culture, and how they compare to earlier small/illicit things like Tijuana Bibles and or shunga?
You should start to answer this. I need to run to the little girls' room, and then I'll come back and we can continue to talk about it, because I think you have a lot more to say about the progression of US zine culture.
US zine culture is really interesting, and I actually, without even reading this part of your question, just started touching on this. It's always been interesting to me, and I don't have a unified theory on why this is yet, that as popular as making and selling fan merch is in English-speaking circles, we don't really make doujinshi, like doujinshi comics. Most zines are art books, and they're usually collaborative art books, and they're usually printed in really high quality and really high production for profit for all of the artists. Meanwhile, doujinshi, I mean, I'll see anthology doujinshi sometimes, but it usually is just one person making a comic. I would be curious to know why that is. I have observed that writing fan fiction seems to be generally more common in English fandom than in Japanese fandom. I feel like in the few fandoms I've been desperate enough to read foreign language fan fiction for, there's been way less Japanese fan fiction. So I don't know if everyone just gets out their ideas in comic form in Japanese fandoms, then they're less likely to do it in story form. I could be off the mark there with that too. That's just anecdotal observations. It's interesting to me that American zine culture has had this shift to being so professional, and same goes for most like anime fan merch. Like, it's all very mass produced. Back when I first started going to anime cons, it was a lot of shrinky dinks and handmade merchandise. And I guess that's just because of, with more people being more internet and importing literate, everyone knows how to have things manufactured in China, which I have mixed feelings about. But I'm not going to get into that because it's a nuanced thing, and I have a lot of friends who like making fan merch, and I respect that. It's just interesting how different the cultures are. It's different what is even being made to begin with.
I really like the podcast Thick Lines. It's a podcast about comics by two comic artists. And they talk every now and again about what zine fairs are like and how they've changed, and what they were like when they were younger. And I think that insight is really invaluable.
The one spicy thing I will say is I wish we would switch calling our fanzines art books, because to me zine still connotates like Xeroxing. Yeah, I think it's kind of unfortunate that they've sort of like lifestyle crept into something so drastically different to the point where now, and I'm sorry if you said this already, a lot of people look at homemade zines and homemade merch with almost like a scoff. Yeah.
Of like, oh, look at how like unprofessional this is. And it's like, it's not supposed to be fucking professional.
Yeah, it's also
for fun.
I'm sorry to say it, but a lot of fan merch is essentially treated to people as disposable.
Yeah.
Like, again, anecdotal, but I feel like I see a lot of people like offload their fan merch collections after a couple years because they fall out of love.
I mean, that was
with
how you
series.
wound up with a lot of merch.
I had a lot of like friends who were like on their way out of a fandom, like essentially dump all of their merch onto me, which, you know, was lucky for me because I was like, I will love and treasure this.
And you still have them, even though you're not nearly as involved in those spaces.
Yeah, I still love them, and if I don't, I like gift them to other friends.
Yeah.
But so it's funny to me to see such an emphasis placed on fan merch being so like professional and like high quality, quote unquote, when I know so many people are going to be offloading their hordes of acrylic keychains in a couple years. I don't know. I don't have any particularly strong opinion about it, except that I wish there could be more of a space for fan, like, handmade DIY merch again.
Yeah,
I wish
fairly
that
certain
didn't get
that
totally pushed out.
if I ever decide to make any sort of merch for Twinkle Park, I refuse to do it unless it's handmade, you know? Like,
as much as possible, I would like to outsource to places that I feel good about.
Yeah.
But
well, I mean, I feel like...
Or just handmade.
Yeah.
Again, this is no judgment on people who do otherwise. I know
because I know that
it's fucking hard to turn a profit with handmade stuff.
Yeah. I think we're in a shitty position now where expectations and the kind of overall cultural climate are such that there's kind of no way to be like a fan artist or like a merch artist for a living without kind of engaging in all of those things the exact way that you know people expect now. So
gotta keep up.
Yeah, exactly.
Which kind of sucks.
Yeah, it
is what it is. It's just different. I am just nostalgic for kind of the more DIY like spirit of passion that fandom spaces used to have. Surely this is a symptom of capitalism rather than a cause of it, but people essentially having to turn being a fan of things into a full-time job is kind of sad for me to see.
Yeah.
Well, also, you know, it's cool that you can make some money off of this, like, I suppose, but I don't know.
It's a hard balance between, like, how do you monetize, like, where does it become monetizing your hobbies and where does it become being compensated for the hard work that you're putting in?
Yeah.
You know, I think it's very personal at the end of the day. I just don't like
mixing business and pleasure.
It's so hard not to.
Anytime I've sold fan merch in the past, I've only done it if I thought I want to own this myself.
Yeah.
So I'll make it for me and then I'll make some more so that I can justify the cost of making it.
Yeah.
Like, I keep one of everything I make, if I make stickers or charms or whatever, which I don't do as much anymore. But anyway, with your videos focus on the media of Comiket being temporary, so you feel there is an argument that archiving it...
Oh, it's supposed to be, do you feel?
Oh, do you feel there is an argument that archiving it might go against artistic intent? I have no horse in the race, just thought it was an interesting question.
Yeah, so obviously this is something that I think about pretty extensively. I have spoken to a lot of different people and gotten a lot of different perspectives about it. You know, people from varying levels of just like familiarity with that space and those practices. And the most common thing that I hear and the thing that makes the most sense to me is that, like, a lot of the artistic intent that goes into things being sold at Comiket or in small, like, BBS boards or what have you, or mail order. The reason why a lot of those things aren't online is, like, it has less to do with, like, the creator not wanting it to be there because they, you know, XYZ reason. It's kind of out of the aforementioned fear of copyright. And so, you know, it feels a little sketchy sometimes to kind of put certain things on blast, so to speak. Even though I know that there's no way that, you know, any doujin artist who made something like half a decade ago, you know, if that gets reshared, they're going to face any sort of litigation against against them, especially like if it's, you know, shared by somebody over here. Like, okay, like if I got the sense that the company who made the original IP, you know, was dicey and was quick to be litigious, like if I wanted to make a video about a piece of Tokimeki Memorial Doujinshi, I would not do that. Because famously Konami like strongly disavowed it and I think attempted to take people to court over it.
God, that's so crazy.
Super fucked up. Fuck Konami.
It's hard because all that stuff already exists in a gray zone.
Well, right.
So then the act of sharing it with other people is already kind of a gray zone.
Yeah, and I'm of the mindset that like this is art that had a lot of really hard work put into, that I know a lot of people would really enjoy, and I think that they deserve to have a bigger audience, and that if any of those creators ever gotten in touch or made it clear that they did not approve of their fan works being made, having more of a light shown on them, I would remove the video in question without a heartbeat.
It's hard with the way the internet works now because there's no way to discreetly share things with other people.
Yeah.
The way it used to be. Like, so for example, a long time ago, I bought and translated a doujinshi that I really liked by an artist I really liked. And I wanted to share it with just people in my circle. So I hosted it behind a couple of obscure passwords and was like, please don't share it, please don't repost it. Like, this is just for the homies who can solve my riddles 3 to look at it. And then like within the week it was reposted to a doujinshi website. And I was like, fuck, that's like the exact thing I did not want happening, but now it's totally out of my control.
Yeah.
And it's like, I felt bad because I felt like I had contributed to an artist I really like's work getting reposted, which is why I only translate stuff for friends now, like in private Discord.
Yeah.
It's like I don't post stuff online at all. But it's hard because it's like back in the day, you could kind of like share that kind of thing, like, I don't know, on a forum or in an IRC or whatever, and just have it stay in that small group of people who would really appreciate it and be really stoked to see it.
And that's why I see more and more why like Japanese fans tend to operate that way. Obviously, I'm generalizing. I don't mean to fucking like East versus West mythologize these as two totally different cultures.
But the ways the different fandoms culturally interact with each other, I think, is something worth observing and being mindful of. Because I think that the way we go about that kind of thing is shifting due to how universal and accessible internet is becoming. And that's an interesting thing to observe. Yeah. But sorry, I feel like I'm kind of scatterbrained today.
No, your answers have all been really,
I feel
really
like all
cogent.
my answers for everyone's questions have been cogent, but have sprung off into 12 different...
That is what people want.
Okay.
I think I would feel really honored if I asked a question that sparked enough thought to branch out into so many different directions.
Well, that's good. Sorry, anyone, if I have... Oh my god, we still have so much to go. Okay, I need to stop going on tangents, though. Ruben N says, newer patron, sorry if you covered this in the past. No problem, Ruben. I've been curious ever since the Sing Yesterday for Me video what your personal history of music discovery was like. Keep up the great work.
It all started when I got into a little anime called Fooly Cooly. I think you can kind of do the math on that one. Kind of just branching out and realizing that there's a whole world of Japanese indie rock music that really spoke to me, and digging through a lot of that, and feeling like, I don't know anybody who knows these bands. Like all my friends say their favorite bands are like fucking Metallica, and like I like Metallica too, but I also really like bands like The Pillows. Like, you know, so a lot of it was from there, finding people who liked similar bands and them sharing their the bands that they like and sharing their own music, and then kind of falling into making music and starting bands with people and learning more about the music that they like. And
it's It's like what we said earlier about going to the influences of stuff you like. It's
Yeah.
a free recommendation list.
Yeah, exactly.
Logan, sorry if I butcher your name. Davila Sanabria?
It's one else. I think it would be Davila.
Davila Sanabria. Hey y'all, this latest video owned, and so did Connections and Feelings. I've got 2 questions, but feel free to ignore either. 1, I was wondering where to find Reveal Fantasia. I found it on Redump/Internet Archive, but on that particular ROM dump keeps crashing after starting a new game. Is there another dump, or is it something to do with the game itself and the emulation settings?
I barely remember anything about making the Cozy RPGs video. I was working like 14-hour days. I'm sorry. I think I just got it off of Internet Archive.
Someone in the comments help this person get
I run a very
Fantasia
particular version of EPC SX2 on a Linux computer, so I may have just lucked out there.
Yeah, try running that version of that thing that Hazel just said on a Linux computer. Maybe then it'll work.
Or don't.
2, if you or Alyssa got to work on any existing series, game, anime, TV, film, etc., what would it be and why?
Do you have an answer for this?
I think that they should let me write a Sonic the Hedgehog game.
Yeah.
I don't know what I would write, but I think that they should let me.
I think they should absolutely do that. I think, like...
I'd also go crazy to work on any of the Sonic comics in any capacity, but I know that's not really my wheelhouse.
I feel like I would really like to write just, like, a song for something I liked, you know? Like, not necessarily a whole score, because I don't have time for that, but...
Just, like, a guest song?
Yeah.
I think more indie, like, rhythm games should have you do a song. It's just my opinion.
I can't remember if I'm allowed to talk about that or not.
Oh, you might need to cut that.
No, it's fine.
Okay,
We haven't said any names. I'm pretty sure I'm allowed to, and I just didn't because I didn't have anything to say about it. But
Wink.
I think I'm allowed to talk about my involvement, but the song that I worked on hasn't been debuted yet.
Oh. Well, you haven't said a name, so no one knows what you're talking
exactly.
about.
So it's fine.
It's fine.
It's fine.
Any other existing series? I feel like there's something I've said before, like, I have joked if I had all the time in the world, it would be really fun to write my own Tenchi reboot series. Just because, like,
there's so much potential
reboots
there.
and spin-offs of that series are, like, already such a thing that I think having my own take on a franchise that meant so much to me as a kid would be really enjoyable.
Yeah.
I've thought offhandedly, like, oh, maybe someday when I have less on my plate as just like a silly passion webcomic project, but it's so hard for me to not be like, at that rate, I should just make something original.
Yeah.
But I think it would be fun. I think they should let me rewrite Shadow the Hedgehog, the game.
I agree.
And
you'll make it like Metal Gear Rising, but even better somehow.
Yeah, somehow.
Yeah.
And that's my answer. Nordian Arpeggio asked, how did you get the clip playing on the GBA? I've heard of the Game Boy video carts, but I don't presume the software used for authoring them is available.
So, funny story about that. I talked a little bit earlier about Inside Cap, the Dojin group. There's a software out there called Medio that is used to convert small video files into GBA ROMs, essentially, that run on like a really, really, really simple player. It's not the same technology as Game Boy video cartridges. It's very, very rudimentary, but you can run it through that conversion software. There's like an English version of it available, but I realized recently that that software was made by Inside Cap. And furthermore, I realized that if you run a patched .gba file that is generated by Medio through one of those programs that like identifies like the header information and stuff, you'll see that it automatically credits it to Type Moon, this studio that made Tsukihime and Fate Stay Night.
Damn.
Because they made conversion software that converts the games to GBA form.
That's crazy.
That was how I did that, and it will come up in much more detail in a future video that is a tremendous, enormous, expensive undertaking. So be on the lookout for that.
Appended to this question is, P.S. was the voice reading the Guardian Recall review meant to be a reference to Duke Nukem?
No, not at all. Not even a little bit.
Shell Sows says, have you ever thought about covering Sonic Underground for a future video?
I forgot that I got this question, or I didn't read it until today, and I had a big laugh coming across it again.
Yeah, good news for you on Hazel's channel. Yeah. Check it out. It's a good video.
Yeah.
Jupiter says, I was wondering if you two had any favorite artist/illustrator and if you have any favorite art book. I also wanted to ask if you have any favorite GL media. P.S. It's Lesbian Week as I'm writing this, so happy week for us.
That was so long ago. I'm so sorry it took so long.
Happy birthday to all lesbians, belatedly.
Yeah, sorry this took so long.
Every week is Lesbian Week when you're us.
Yeah, it's true. Favorite GL media.
Time for me to forget every single thing I've ever read or engaged with.
I think in the School Zone video, I recommended Yamaji Ebine, and I still stand by that. I really like her works. I think like Dojin stuff, Josei stuff, Jesus Christ. Josei is like a really fertile ground for Yuri that doesn't just kind of fall into Yuri tropes and archetypes. And I don't have anything against them. Like I'm not of the mindset that they're like inherently like super problematic or whatever, but rather that like they're just kind of tiresome.
Yeah, it can get tired to read the same trope over and over.
Rather than recommending well, I haven't read the book yet, so I can't say how I feel about it, but Erica Friedman of YuriCon put out a whole book documenting the first 100 years of Yuri.
Yeah, I need to read that book.
Yeah, and I bought it recently, and I'm so excited to read it.
This is by... Oh, sorry.
What? No,
I was going to go on a tangent.
That was one of my ums that trails off indefinitely.
Gotcha, I thought so. I just wanted to make sure I wasn't interrupting
you. Yeah, you're good.
This isn't by any means my favorite. It's just the first thing on my mind because it's the most recent thing I've read. Our friend Madeline recommended... Because I was talking about Chobits, right? And I was like... Yeah, like, I so badly wish there was stupid, dumb, idiot shit like this, but with lesbians. Like, I wish that the protagonist of Chobits was a lesbian. She was like, have I got the Dynasty Scans recommendation for you? It's not finished, and I don't fucking remember what it's called, but the premise is just, like, an office lady accidentally orders a sex robot, thinking that, while she's drunk, thinking that she's ordering a maid robot. And the sex robot is just like constantly trying to get her to fuck her. And she's like, no, I don't even think owning you is legal. Like, I don't know how you ended up here. Like, I'm not gonna fuck you. But they keep having sex anyway, and it's great, and it's dumb, and it's horny in exactly the ways I wanted it to be.
I didn't know about this.
It's really funny. I'll have to send it to you. I wish I remembered the title, but it's still ongoing.
You'll have to post the comment with the title when this goes live.
There's another incredibly short one. It's only being posted in the form of like 4 pages on Twitter. It's about a gyaru who's really into like very alternative music, who gets a crush on a record store cashier because they bond over liking the same kind of weird music, and she thinks that the cashier is a hot guy, but it's actually a girl in her class who just like dresses more masculine while she's on the job. And the cashier girl doesn't know how to tell her that she's a girl, but she's also like kind of fostering a crush on her. It just started. Cute. It's like a you read it in like 10 minutes.
Fuck
thing.
Me! I can't believe I was about to fucking forget to recommend it.
Oh, what?
Fucking God! What is that? I can't remember the author's name, but she's the author of I think it's called the Kakeochi Girl. Run Away With Me Girl or something like that. Really short. I think it's like 2 volumes long. Really, really beautiful. One of those comics that is so beautifully constructed that it makes me like entertain the idea of like really caring about things like page layout. Like it's the kind of comic. It's the kind of comic that's good enough that it makes me that it makes the phrase sequential art pop up in my head.
Rather, I feel that way. I love comics that make me feel that way.
Yeah, like, you should read Kyoko Okazaki.
I'm going to. I will. Don't punch me. I don't know if I have like a specific favorite GL media. I keep singing School Zone's praises, and to be honest, I think even something like a little more self-serious than School Zone might be preferable to me.
Yeah.
I just really love that you can feel how much Ningyao loves girls.
Yeah.
Like, she just loves Yuri and drawing like
so good.
Every kind of Yuri couple that her little rabbit brain can think of, and I love that for her.
Yeah.
And I appreciate that kind of dumb comedy in Yuri format, because I feel like as of right now that's kind of a rare treat.
Yeah, absolutely.
I kind of follow just like a lot of random, like not even necessarily published artists, like just random Yuri artists on Twitter who just like love their little Yuri OCs, and I think that's like my favorite kind of GL.
Yeah, there's something special about kind of catching those glimpses of an artist's passion for their characters.
Yeah.
It's very special.
A special little tour through their mind palace.
As far as favorite artists or illustrators, oh gosh. We own a lot of art books, so I don't know if I could really easily narrow one down. I will say I did import two of Ramia Rio's art books, and those are just so beautiful.
Yeah, I love those.
We kind of have like a section of our shelves that's kind of like our stand-in for like a coffee table books, you know, just stuff that's fun to pick up and leaf through.
I really like art books.
Yeah.
This is
Yoshitomo Nara, I think, is my like one kind of like simple answer as far as like painters go.
For a while, this is kind of just a random one off the top of my head. I really like Shiku's painting. She's kind of like the main artist for Kikuo. Yeah. Not always. Sometimes he does his own art, but I like her stuff. Unfortunately, I think she got into NFT shit, so I was kind of like, eh. But I still enjoy the quality of her paintings. This is maybe a bad answer, but while looking at the art books on our shelves, I really love like all the concept art for Splatoon.
Yeah.
Splatoon is like one of those rare AAA games where like its art direction like still kind of excites me. Like it just really captures everything that was really fun and exciting about like the 90s like cool shit that was coming out for a while, and it does it in a fresh and unique way that doesn't just feel like a boring like throwback. That's not a specific artist or illustrator, but I love looking at Splatoon concept art in general. Obviously I have to give love to Koge Danbo, not necessarily because I continue to aspire to her, but because she meant so much to me as a teenager, and I probably wouldn't have gotten into digital art as young as I did if it hadn't been for her.
Yeah.
Obviously, I think I mentioned maybe even last Q&A how much I love... they're not one person, they're two people. They're an artist and a writer combo, but Ida Iro of Hanako-kun, just because, like, I think all of Ida's illustrations are fucking gorgeous. I love her color sense and her line weight and her just like unique style sensibilities. You know, an artist has struck on something unique when all the fan art wants to copy the official art style. Because
that's a good point.
I feel like Ida's way of drawing their characters is so idiosyncratic that it almost doesn't feel right if you don't capture those idiosyncrasies in your fan art.
Yeah, that's very true.
I think that's a really fun thing. I just like art. I tend to really like art that's like just like made by very specific, very dedicated perverts. Also, I know that's a little more general, but I just always love seeing how much care
certain artists put into things that sort of seem trivial until it kind of clicks why all that detail is there.
Yeah.
Stuff like that I really enjoy.
I love a good artist with a fixation.
Yeah,
or like a preoccupation.
Yeah.
I just like to see someone who loves a thing and does it good.
Yeah, absolutely.
I wish I had a better, more specific answer for a favorite illustrator.
We've given a lot of them, so I think that...
for me, I'm kind of more of a piece by piece. Like, I'll see one piece and be like, wow, I really like that.
Yeah.
Rather than following any specific artist.
Yeah, but definitely.
I just like stuff that is good. Java says, hello, long-time listener, first-time question asker. With the announcement of Sonic Origins, I'm curious, if Sega were to greenlight another Sonic game collection with similarly definitive versions of its games, what games would you include? Hard mode, you can only limit yourself to 5 games.
Sonic R, Sonic R, Sonic R, Sonic R, Sonic R.
Sonic the Fighters.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, like Sonic Gems is kind of already that for me.
Yeah, Sonic Gems is already a really good Sonic collection. I mean, I know everyone says this, so sorry for the boring answer, but I wouldn't complain about like a Sonic Adventure, Sonic Adventure 2, maybe Sonic Heroes, maybe Shadow the Hedgehog remaster.
Sonic 06.
I think that especially Sonic Adventure 1 and 2 would do really good with remasters because the fucking audio mastering in those games is dog shit in English and in Japanese, but especially in English.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, I know that remastering those games would probably involve a lot of asset remaking and probably entire voice re-recording, at least for the English dub. And that's kind of sad because I feel like a lot of those are kind of baked into the charm of the original games.
Yeah, I think that at a certain point, like, I don't know, maybe it's my particular era that I grew up in talking, but I feel like to definitivize those games too much would be to fundamentally change them in a way that I don't think you can quite do with the 2D Sonics.
Yeah. Like, I feel like remasters of those games would inherently be remakes. Like, it's not like Mario Sunshine where people are like, oh yeah, just improve like the performance a little and add light, like add bloom. Add a bloom effect to it, and then bada bing, bada boom, brand new game. Like, a lot would need to be changed about those games, and I feel like I already like a lot about those games as they are, but I would be curious to see, like, a really lovingly done remake of them.
Definitely.
So I don't know. It would be cool to see them combined and then have the Chow Gardens combined, though, because all the combined versions of both of those games have a lot of different Chow Garden features that I would be curious to see all put into one place. Yeah. That's and then I think they should remake Sonic Heroes and make it easier. I think they should make the like half-hour long missions shorter.
Yeah.
And they should fucking fix the bonus stages, because even with
they're so hard.
Even with the goddamn, like, I had a third-party controller that had turbo mode.
Right, yeah.
I would use that on the bonus stages and still have such a hard time beating them.
Yeah.
So, yeah, fix that shit. I like Sonic Heroes, but goddamn. Wani says, hello there. Wanted to ask randomly, where did y'all get that giant Lammy vinyl you guys have? I saw it in the lame video and just had to ask. Thanks again. Love all the work you guys put into these videos.
So to specify, it's a vinyl toy, not vinyl record. To those who don't know what we're referencing.
I got it for cheap on eBay for a gift for you like years ago.
It was either a birthday or anniversary gift. I'm not sure which.
Gifts.
Yeah.
I just searched for Lammy figure on eBay.
You got in like right before all that stuff
the big Lammy boom
tripled in price. Yeah.
Yeah, I got lucky.
Yeah, expect to hear me talk more about Lammy in maybe say hypothetically about a month's time.
Woo! Alex W says, did you capture much more of the ripping process? Like, get any sounds or anything cool like that of old VHS ripping hardware? Something about the tactility of old tech is so cool.
I wish I had captured twice as much. I was really strapped for footage, but no, I captured as much as I could. A lot of it just didn't come out especially usable.
Bummer. Geeky Artist says, hi Hazel and Melissa, I know you've shown brief clips of your old anime/manga/cool things before. Would you ever consider doing like a room tour or a video where you just show your collection? Maybe after we move. Shit's kind of like, a lot of it's in storage because we don't have room for anything right now.
Yeah.
Our place is pretty small. We're hoping to hopefully display stuff a little bit better and more organized at our next
we'll probably
place.
have to get a second proper shelf because ours is like fucking like double booked.
Double cheeked up.
Yeah, seriously. It's bad.
I wouldn't be against showing collections though.
Yeah, I tend to feel like if I were to do it, I would really need to express outright that this stuff that we've been like accumulating on the cheap for like
lives.
fucking like cumulatively like 3 decades, 4 decades.
Between the two of us.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, again, I'm not like a huge like quote unquote collector. The idea of collecting things just for the sake of having them makes me kind of itchy. And I even have a few things that I bought because of like the stress of limited quantity.
Yeah.
That I extremely regret buying, even though like they don't take up that much space, but because I look at them and I'm like, I don't love you the way I should.
Like what?
I kind of regret buying Danganronpa for the Switch.
Yeah.
I thought that collection would be cooler than it is.
Yeah.
And having it, I'm kind of like, I could have just done with having these on Steam.
Yeah, but now we have Komaeda in our bathroom.
Yeah, it was worth it to have Komaeda in our bathroom, I suppose.
Yeah.
There's other little things like that, like the fucking Mario collection with
God,
Sunshine 64
that shit is
and
such
Odyssey.
fucking...
It's such a bad collection.
Eat my shorts.
I got it because I thought... Again, I just had like slightly better faith that it would be a little bit better than it is. And I was like, oh, you know, an easy way to play Mario Sunshine on the go. That's kind of cool. And then I ended up not really... I don't know. There was just something about it where I was like, I don't really feel driven to play this.
Yeah.
Yeah, so stuff like that. It's almost always limited edition shit where I'm like, well, if I don't get it now, I'm going to regret it. And then I get it, and then I regret getting it. So then I feel like a stupid idiot consumer.
Yeah. I definitely used to be that way once upon a time, especially when I used to work at a Target. So I'd be like, well, I have a discount. I might as well buy this the first day it comes out.
Generally, I try not to do that, though. A friend was talking to me about anime figures, and I was like, I actually don't think I've ever pre-ordered an anime figure.
No.
Like, either it's easy enough to get that I get it eventually because I want it, or I'll just buy it secondhand.
Yeah.
Someday.
The only one that I've ever pre-ordered is the Monica DDLC Nendoroid.
That is still not out.
No. Yeah, I'm going to need to update shipping. Which is funny because I also had to change the shipping address when I bought DDLC Plus when that came out.
Oh, yeah, because we were moving then, too.
Yeah.
Oh, my. Yeah, I don't pre-order stuff. The one time I did, it was a figure of a character I have loved for like 5 years now. And I canceled the pre-order because I felt too much guilt at the idea of spending $80 on a figure.
That's so sad.
Like, that's how my bar for that kind of thing is. Like, if I have to spend more than a video game's worth on it, it's not worth it to me.
Yeah, I tend to also think in increments of video game price, which is funny.
Yeah, I'm the same way. But yeah, I mean, as a result, the stuff in my collection usually is sentimental to me for one reason or another. So I think showing that stuff would be fun.
Yeah.
Scarlett says, as a fellow anime database bottom of the barrel scraper, are there any particular hidden gems of note you found that you probably won't talk about in a video, that is? I know I've definitely found some things that, while very low-key, I think about fondly. Funnily enough, that's including Arisa Good Luck, so I was pleasantly surprised to be reminded about it this way.
That's funny.
Hoi Hoi San.
Yeah. I found about I always forget the full title.
Hoi Hoi San.
It's like a Ichigeki Satsu. It's like one shot kill. Hoi Hoi San.
Yeah, I think here, let me look it up.
But yeah, it's a it started out as a
Ichigeki Satsu.
Okay, thank you. Yeah. It started out as a I forget what it started out as, but
it started as a manga.
Okay, it did start as a manga by the character designer for Xenosaga specifically.
Xenogears.
Well,
Xenosaga Episode 1 and Xenoblade Chronicles X.
There we go.
As well as the key concept design for the anime, Key the Metal Idol.
Right.
He also wrote the manga for Ruin Explorers, which was made into a movie.
We've been meaning to watch Ruin Explorers.
Yeah. Hoi Hoi San spawned a PlayStation 2 game and then a 10-minute OVA. The manga is really cute.
The OVA is cute.
The game is cute.
The game is like very clearly a simple series game. It's really janky. I think that would be fun to stream sometime.
Yeah. The figures of Hoi Hoi San are cute.
Yeah, there's some really, really cute model kits that we own of her. I literally found out about her because I was at an eco town in Orange County when we lived in Orange County. And I was like, what is this weird, like, charging base for this model kit?
It was just the base.
It was just the
base.
Yeah. So I looked it up and then I found out about her. Mm-hmm. And I love her whole little legacy. I think she's so cute.
I treasure stuff like that. I really like weird little series like that.
It's so much fun to have something that kind of feels like your own special little thing.
I still feel that way about Pointy's Point as well.
Yeah, me too.
Blue Delaquanti says, I was fascinated by the part of the video about Comic Cat and the CD-ROM listing that year's participants. Even if you didn't find what you were looking for on there, were there any other interesting finds when you browsed the CD-ROM's contents?
Two things right off the bat. I thought it was really interesting how a lot of the doujinshi of Kanon was usually also like simultaneously doujinshi for one the game that they had made prior under a different studio name. Like that's kind of like the sort of like a Kanon Zero, so to speak, in a lot of ways.
I guess you figure they probably were like, no one's going to care about that in isolation, so
yeah, like this new thing is so no, other way around.
Oh, okay.
One was really big.
Oh, okay.
It's only kind of treated as like Act Zero now because it's
right.
It was a prelude to like.
I'm sorry, I have to blow my nose. I'll be right back.
No, you're fine. To like the Key Seasons trilogy. But the other thing that I found that I thought was really interesting is there is like a truly fucking I knew there was going to be a lot of King of Fighters yaoi. Of course I knew that. I knew that going in. I knew that was a thing. What really surprised me was how much fucking Suikoden yaoi there was. Or maybe it wasn't just yaoi, but it was clearly like a lot of Suikoden doujinshi made by female creators at the event. I thought that was really, really funny. Like funny, interesting, funny, charming, funny, not like funny, weird, funny. Yeah, it was really fun to look through, and I keep thinking that I'm probably going to need to import more of those in the future. We only made them up to a certain point, but thankfully that was like over the span of time that I'm most curious about. And like, I don't know, it was really easy to get set up with a virtual machine, so I would really like to do that again. I'm going to read this next one without Alyssa. And then I'll have her join in when she gets back. Doozy Uzi asked, hey, thought I'd ask the both of you if there are any anime or manga creators, writers, artists, etc., that if they're attached to something, it'll pique your interest. I know that I've talked a lot of shit on him, but genuinely, Mamoru Oshii is still one of those for me. Where if he's doing something that isn't some weird, like, war movie or, like, video game isekai live-action movie, I'm pretty interested. The other night, I put on his film Talking Head on a whim with Alyssa, and it was a great watch. A lot of fun. And like, you know, more than anything, like Oshii is a guy who's kind of like predictably unpredictable in that regard. I kind of can't help but be sort of like fascinated by him, even if that fascination is on a pretty fast slider between charming and finding him completely fucking insufferable. Alyssa,
Yes, my love.
are there any artists, directors, writers, etc., where if they're attached to a project, it'll pique your interest?
Oh, that's a good question. I used to be a little bit of a seiyuu otaku, just in terms of like,
Right.
I had a handful of voice actors or actresses who I was really attached to, and if they're in a new project, I will engage with it just because I like to hear their voice. Megumi Ogata is definitely one of those. I'm probably going to watch the Jujutsu Kaisen movie this week.
Oh, right.
Just because she plays Yuta. And I fucking love to hear her talk.
Yeah.
Sawashiro Miyuki used to be one of those for me until she was like literally in everything. I still enjoy her, but I'm like so used to every single voice she does now that I'm like,
Yep, there she is.
That's Miyuki again. Trying to think. I also used to be like huge into Haruka Momoi, so
Yeah.
and she was only in like trash. Like she was usually a side character in something that was like already not that good, or she was like in the main character for like, I don't know, just like really weird trashy stuff. But sometimes I would watch shit just for her.
Yeah.
I've been meaning to watch Nurse Witch Komugi for like
We
the
should
last
watch
10 years.
it. But first we gotta watch the anime it's based on.
I don't want to.
I know, I also don't want to.
I only want to watch Nurse
I
Witch
know,
Komugi.
I also only want to watch Nurse Witch Komugi. Honestly, like...
I'm a fake fan though. I don't pay as much attention to like the directors and
Yeah. I tend to find that like
writers.
a lot of like manga is one thing. That's like
Yeah,
its
sure.
own
I'll
whole
follow
sphere.
an artist.
Yeah, but like as far as like anime directors or writers go, they tend to be so prolific that it's difficult to keep an eye on them unless they're one of those select few, you know? Where like they make something once every few years and it's always interesting.
Yeah, usually the only time I pay attention to directors or writers is when a new series gets announced and I was like, oh my god, it's the director for this series that's really good and beloved. And I'm like, okay.
Yeah.
I mean, I liked that one, so maybe I'll like this one too.
Yeah.
Except the last time I got really excited about that.
My answer was my answer to this question was Mamoru Oshii.
Oh, was goddamn Vlad Love,
Yeah.
and that was a letdown in every way.
Yeah.
So now I don't care. I will only watch your shit if Megumi Ogata is in it, and if she's not, get fucked. Not engaging with it. Just kidding. Yeah. So that's how I. Or, I mean, I judge a book by its cover. If it looks cool to me, I'll watch it. If there's a character design in it, I will watch it.
Yeah.
If the animation looks good and compelling, I will watch it. Part of why I watched Beastars was because I was enamored with the opening sequence, and it was amazing to me that an anime had done stop motion for an opening sequence. Beastars also is like one of the few 3D anime that didn't make me want to turn it off. It was certainly limited, but it used its limits in a way that I felt like worked pretty well.
Yeah.
There's a lot of panel box of characters face talking in that anime though, which was a little tiresome. That's a tangent. Didn't that studio also do Hoseki no Kuni, which everyone like jizzes their pants over?
Oh, I didn't know that. I still
so.
need to see that.
I do too. Everyone always recommends it to me, but I kind of have like an inverse thing where if people recommend something to me too much, I'll like refuse to engage with it.
Yeah.
So I have to wait like 10 years before no one cares about it anymore. And then I'll be like, hey, what was that thing everyone told me to watch?
Yeah. I'm sorry. I'll probably never talk about Utena on my channel.
You don't want me to talk about Utena. Just trust me on that one. Arsehole Tep, the Insufferable, says, that's a fascinating username, by the way. I don't know what it means. Arsehole Tep, the Insufferable, says, you've referenced it a couple of times in your videos, but I was wondering what your feelings towards the Mother franchise are.
I like them from a distance.
Yeah, Hazel's not a motherhead.
I tried to be for a really long time, and the games just never clicked. I like Mother 3, though.
I like the whole Mother series.
I made a tweet about Mother 3 that went like semi-viral or whatever, and I think it made people think that I have a way deeper attachment to that game than I do.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I think that game's pretty good.
I love the Mother series. I would not play Mother 1 by myself, but I'm one of those people who's like, you really shouldn't overlook it. Like, watch someone else play it at least, because it sets a lot of important stage pieces.
I think that's the one I'm like most fascinated by and interested in from a distance.
People don't talk about it to hell and back, so no, it's enticing. No, Mother 1 is really interesting. I just feel like you have to have an understanding and appreciation for like older, simpler games like that, but it's got a lot of like cool elements to it, just from a design perspective, like a gameplay design perspective. It sets the entire stage for Mother 2 and Mother 3 in a lot of kind of integral ways. Mother 2, I played in its entirety in Japanese while in probably one of my first like definable depression funks as a teenager. I had a physical copy of it for the Game Boy Advance, so I just kind of scrolled up in my room with it and played and tried to get better at understanding Japanese while playing it. So Mother 2 is kind of special in that way. I actually only just semi-recently, as in the last few years, like saw Mother 3 all the way to the end. I've made a few attempts at playing it before, and I think just like either due to emulation lag or whatever, it was kind of hard for me to play it.
I think I've got about halfway through.
Yeah, I think I've gotten about halfway through as well.
But I watched an entire playthrough of it as a kid before I ever even touched it, and then I played it, and then I watched a playthrough of it as an adult.
Yeah.
And I don't know, there's some, it's very difficult for me to articulate it, but I feel like there's just something that just doesn't fully connect for me about the Mother games.
Mm-hmm.
Like they're just a little bit more intangible than I think I tend to like my characters, if that makes sense.
So the funny thing is, I actually slightly prefer Mother 2 over Mother 3, even though I think Mother 3 is a really beautifully made game.
Yeah.
Because I engaged with Mother 2 in a phase where I actually really enjoyed vague characters. So, like, that was, like, when I was deep up into classic Mega Man. And I was trying to get into the Toho fandom. For whatever reason, I've never successfully, latched onto it, even though I really want to.
I always think that it's going to be the kind of thing that I can get brainworms for, and it never lands, even though I love and respect it in so many ways. I love
Toho on a surface level, but it hasn't gotten into my heart yet, but I feel like it will someday. But yeah, like I was really into classic Mega Man. Like I really liked the ambiguity of those characters, and I really liked the ambiguity of the Mother 2 characters and sort of the impressionistic view you get into who they are and what they feel about this very grand story happening around them. Because it kind of allowed me to like play pretend while I played the game, almost like kind of imagine myself what they were thinking and saying about things. I know not everyone likes to play video games that way, though, so that's why a lot of people prefer Mother 3. I actually had an interesting conversation semi-recently with Aru, my friend, about Mother 3, and I was surprised to hear her say that she didn't like Mother 3 because she felt like its sentimentality was too heavy-handed.
I absolutely see that. She felt
that the game tried too hard to make you sad, and in doing that, like, failed to make her sad at all. It was interesting to hear from her, because, I don't know, I feel like people are kind of almost afraid of criticizing Mother 3 because people have such a strong attachment to Mother 3. I'm, like, right in the middle where I really like Mother 3, but I don't have quite as strong of an attachment to it as a lot of other people do.
I think that, if anything, my hang up with Mother 3 is that, like, I agree with the core of everything that it's saying. I just also feel like it, maybe that's not quite true. I think it lacks a certain amount of levity that I think would be really, really needed. Like, it's a very, very sort of like a weighty, heavy plot that kind of demands a certain amount of like solemnness, so to speak.
It's got a lot of levity, but it's levity being balanced out by some pretty overly heavy shit.
Yeah. I think that at a certain point it does. I don't think that I fully agree, but I can absolutely see how that kind of turns into noise at a certain point, you know?
Yeah, I mean, I think a lot of people were just wowed by Mother 3 because, not to be like, oh, Mother 3 was the first game to ever have, like, sad things in it, but it was very, like, uncompromising about a lot of heavy subjects that it didn't even like necessarily dance around via metaphor or anything.
Yeah.
It was very explicitly like, like this character is failing to be a good father because of his grief. This character is abusing his son, but like they have a complicated relationship. It's not just like he's clearly a villain, he's clearly a bad, like he's doing bad things and treating this character badly, but they still kind of care about each other. This character is bringing capitalism into the town. And, you know, things like that, you know, Itoi's preoccupation with like capitalism kind of corrupting this idealistic setting.
It's very, very Isao Takahata of him.
I'm okay with messages like that being pretty on the nose. Because I mean,
there's a kind of catharsis inherent to something like that being stated so plainly because it's it's true.
You know, it's a shorthand for something that we all already know implicitly. You know? But I don't know. I mean, I think overall Mother 3 does a lot of very surprising things with how heavy it can be, with how uncompromising it can be in its emotional beats, and I think that's one of its strengths and also one of its, like, I wouldn't even say weakness, but like it's a thing that may or may not hit for someone. So I find it kind of just interesting from that perspective. But I think Mother 3 just is benefited by it surprised people by how heavy it was able to be.
This will sound insane, but I feel like if Mother 3 was a film, I would really, really, really love it. But it's something about its length combined with where its priorities from a narrative perspective fall. Something about it just has never clicked with me in the way that I've always wanted it to. And I feel similarly about Mother 2. But
I think I like Mother 2 because Mother 2 feels a lot more set piecey to me. Like it's a lot more about interesting ideas and interesting settings kind of playing out almost in self-contained ways. Sometimes like a little bit interlocked with other things. Like I think very clearly about the Dungeon Man stretch of the game. I think very clearly about the monkey trading maze. I think very clearly about finding the sesame seeds in the desert. I think very clearly about
Pooh's introduction
and him getting his body broken. And, you know, Earthbound does a really good job going from like set to set, like scene to scene almost in a way that kind of keeps you like excited for what will happen next. Whereas Mother 3 is a much more cohesive, like ongoing story.
I think maybe if somebody had pitched it to me more clearly that way from the get-go, I would have gotten more out of it. But it was something that I kind of had to watch unfold as we were playing through it. And I think that kind of like threw me because I think people tend to talk about it as this like hero's journey when like it's kind of not really able to be.
Something else that I still don't even really know how I feel about it. Maybe I like it, maybe I don't. You know, it's kind of like one of those moves where it's so bold that I kind of respect it, and I can't decide if I agree with it. I still don't know how I feel about the fact that the, what's his name, leader? Just kind of like...
Oh, leader?
I think he's sure. Leader.
I think it's leader.
It's meant to be a pun on like being the leader of the town, right?
Duh.
Just kind of lore dumps you at the end of the game. He just
that guy.
Explains a bunch of shit to you.
That doesn't
totally
have any
out of the blue.
Like direct...
I mean, it does. It's like the origin of the town and the townspeople
but I mean like
or something.
It doesn't have any direct consequence on like the
on like
on how the finale plays out.
Yeah, I mean, you could totally skip over him. I think everything he says is optional. When I watched Vinny get to that part, I mean, Vinny clearly really enjoyed it, so it made me enjoy it too. But I was kind of like, it is kind of insane to do this much tell and not show in a video game this long and already plot and character heavy.
I really vividly remember when I was watching the Let's Play of it that I watched as a kid. I can't remember who it was.
Probably Chugga Conroy or something.
I think it may have been Nintendo Capri Sun, but it was one of those guys. When I watched him play the game, he got to that part and that was its own 11-minute segment. Just reading through all of that dialogue. I think
you can kind of tell how Itoi got his background in like writing books.
I'm really Well, I don't think he was the scenario writer on that game.
Oh,
it was
okay.
One of the scenario writers was the Live Alive guy.
Ah, gotcha.
Yeah. Which also makes a lot of sense in its own right.
Yeah, I mean, I think that whole tone of like that whole lineage of game makers is something I enjoy a lot.
Yeah,
that
definitely.
kind of like strange balancing of humor and strangeness and simultaneous very grounded realistic scenarios is something I like about the whole, what would you call it, like the love to lick lineage.
Yeah, like going from Itoi, following that lineage all the way through like Kimura and can't remember some of those other guys' names offhand, but
all the rest of them boys.
Yeah. All the way clear through to Tobert Fox.
Yeah, I'm also fond of Mother because I made a lot of friends through
through a very, very complicated web of interactions. You and I ostensibly met via Mother.
Via Mother mutuals.
Yeah.
But yeah, I knew Toby back in our Mother fandom days, and that was cool.
Yeah.
I have lasting internet friendships that came because of Mother.
I kind of have this theory that Mother is something that has been continually elevated in the hearts and minds of people who really adore it because it was so significant for them finding a community. Like almost more so than anything of the content of the games itself. Like I think it really wins on being a story that kind of plays into a sort of like, how do I put this? Like a sort of deliberately synthetic nostalgia.
I don't know if I agree with that, but that's an interesting way of putting it.
That like to play it kind of inherently makes one revisit those memories in like a more vivid way. I mean, when I say synthetic nostalgia, I specifically mean the ways in which it's a pastiche of like Americana from kind of like slapdash from different time periods.
Yeah.
Like people say like, oh, it's like 1950s America, but it's just as much 1960s and 70s and 80s and 90s.
Yeah, I mean, especially with Mother 2, because of the like sort of like imagination run wild qualities of it. I especially liked seeing like fan art and fan comics and fan interpretations of its events like more fully realized. So that's something that made interacting with other fans enjoyable for me. But yeah, I mean, I don't know. I think Mother 2 in particular will always have a really special place in my heart. I don't feel as like fanatical about it these days anymore, but I still certainly love it very much.
I keep racking my brain trying to figure out if I have a Mother, you know? Like if I have a
Do
Mother
you have a
series equivalent.
I think the Mother series has the pitfall of being as accessible and influential as it is that you've seen a lot of watered down attempts at recapturing what makes Mother lovable. In especially like indie game circles of like, here's my retro throwback quirky emotional video game.
You'll laugh, you'll cry, you'll shit your pants.
Yeah, and some games have been more successful at capturing that Undertale than others. Game I won't mention by name. There's so many indie games that have been influenced by Earthbound. I could be talking about anything.
Yeah, you'd literally be talking about it.
So I think that has retroactively soured some people on the Mother series just because there have been so many derivatives of it.
I also think that there's just been it has been lauded so much that it almost feels like I have to imagine, like I tried getting into those games in like 2009 and I felt like I didn't see the hype at that time. Like I can't wrap my head around what it would be like to try to get into those games without expectations today. In some ways, it might be easier just because people are talking about it less. I'm not really sure, but, you know, still. Yeah, so those are my thoughts on the Mother franchise.
Yeah. I love Paula.
I feel like I don't know her.
You don't need to. She's just a girl. And I like Miss Marshmallow.
Which one is that?
She's Porky's robot maid.
Oh, yeah, I love her. Yeah, no, she's my favorite.
And I love... trying to think of another obscure mother character who I love. I love the Dungeon Man. Just kidding. Joe Uglick says, what's your favorite theme of cat name? My cat Muffin has endeared me to food name themes. I had a cat named Muffin for a while. He was really sweet. When we got him, the person who sold him to us lied and said they shaved his tail, but in fact his tail was being ravaged by ringworm, and he gave everyone in the family ringworm, and we still liked him a lot despite him giving all of us ringworm, which is a testimony to how cute he was.
I'm a really big fan of just like objects as cat names. I can't think of any offhand, but like my old bandmate who I used to live with, he has a cat named Fig, which is a fruit, obviously. But sure. I feel like I've heard like cat names that are like, oh yeah, my cat, like, I don't know,
Tupperware.
Yeah. Like literally, basically, exactly
like
that.
Call him Tuppy, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah, I think that kind of thing is genuinely really, really cute. I think it's like quirky and funny in a way that doesn't feel saccharine.
Yeah.
Or like cloying or whatever.
Sure. I like naming cats after fandom things that aren't obviously fandom things. So, I mean, obviously I named Wander after Wander from Wander Over Yonder.
I don't even see that when I look at him anymore.
Yeah,
like I just see Wander, my cat.
But I think it's a cute name and it's general enough.
Yeah.
My cat before him I named Wheatley because he was gray and white with big blue eyes. So I thought that was cute and fitting. Cute. Also, Wheatley is just like phonetically a cute name.
Yeah.
I like 2-syllable pet names.
Yeah, it feels good.
Any more than that, and it's too much of a mouthful to call their name. That's kind of like my hard and fast pet name rule.
Yeah.
One or 2 syllables, no more.
Our next cat's going to be named Raiden.
I do think Raiden would be adorable.
I feel like William might have a cat named Raiden. I know he's got Little Boss. I can't remember his other cat's name.
I have joked I would name a cat Sephiroth, so maybe I would break my 2-syllable rule for that.
Yeah, that would be very funny.
But a cat has to earn the name Sephiroth, you know? And I don't know if I want to own the cat who would be named Sephiroth. Like Medivh. Yeah, Medivh really lives up to his name. I love him. Nicholas DeRosa says, hi, Hazel and Alyssa. On the subject of Comiket, have you ever considered doing a video on some of the works and culture that have emerged from it? An example being the When They Cry franchise. What the fuck is Siconia?
It's the third game in the series. I think it came out semi-recently.
I've never heard of it.
You've never heard of it because everybody who loves Umineko is still playing Umineko. They're literally still making their way through it. Nobody's gotten to play it yet.
I don't know what Umineko heads are smoking, but it like makes you mate for life.
It's literally I can't. I won't. I shan't.
No, I mean, I respect them, but I will never smoke what they're smoking.
Yeah.
I respect it, though. Also curious on your thoughts on WTC.
When They Cry.
Oh, When They Cry.
Yeah.
I had a friend obsessed with Higurashi as a kid, and obviously 4chan was like crazy about Higurashi, so I saw all kinds of 4chan runoff memes about Higurashi.
Were they going off about the VN or the anime adaptation?
The anime.
I actually last month I started watching the anime because I kind of officially came to terms with the fact that I'd probably never have time to play the game because I have been for like fucking 7 years now been making my way through Tsukihime before bed each night. And only last night did I finally finish one of the routes. But I was enjoying the Higurashi anime enough that I knew that I was going to get a better experience if I just played the games. So I think I'm going to play the games.
Higurashi heads rejoice. At long last, Hazel's going to read Higurashi.
Yeah, I actually now officially own a copy of it on CD for an unrelated video for an unrelated reason. But I do plan to play it, I think. But yeah, I mean, obviously, like, Comiket factors into just about everything I have interest talking about. So it'll always be a facet of videos without fail. I mean, maybe not in the Sonic Underground video, but you know.
Yeah, I have no thoughts about the When They Cry series, except that I still have Higurashi character songs lyrics memorized for some reason.
That's wild.
It's weird.
Yeah.
Codfish Cartographer says, you get to magically make a change to any anime or video game with zero regards for budget or practicality. What do you change? How do you change it? And why?
That's a hard one. I feel like it would be just to remove like one extremely dumb thing from a piece of media that's otherwise good. Not because I necessarily have qualms about it, but because it makes it easier to recommend without it. You know?
Well, I'm a broken record.
What?
My immediate thought was that I would just remove all the dumb Mikon CGs from Danganronpa 2.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
I could recommend it to people without being like, there's this one thing I really...
Yeah, that's a great example. Like, that kind of thing is kind of
about that.
what comes to mind.
I would remake Shadow the Hedgehog into a game that's fun to play.
I would take Great Teacher Onizuka and I would remove the extremely bad section of it where... Unless I'm misremembering, because I haven't seen it since I was in high school, I would remove the arc where Onizuka gets revenge on some female students by taking upskirt shots of them. Or whatever that insane shit is.
Yeah, bye.
Yeah. You cut that out and that show's great. At least to my recollection. I haven't seen it since I was a child. But even at the time, I was like, this doesn't make sense. This is gross and stupid.
Yeah, I mean... I would take all the 30-minute missions out of Sonic Heroes.
Yeah, there you go. There you go. It's perfect.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
Those are my... I'm starting to get tired because I gave 2 long answers to the first batch of questions.
It's all good. Everyone. We'll keep it running.
Epu Kaipanen says, I'm currently in the middle of writing a massive 2-part video about horror in animation, one focusing on anime and the genesis of these videos, was to be a sort of yes and to your videos on Takena and OVAs. In the latter, you say that after the bubble economy burst, the decadence of something like Urotsuki Doji stopped being appealing. I'm curious to hear a little bit more about your thoughts on this because I've been going down the rabbit hole with this, and to me it would seem the level of decadence didn't go out of style, considering works like Le Blue Girl, the Demon Beast Invasion series, Apocalypse Zero, and the 5 sequels to Urotsuki Doji. The excess was well alive post-crash into the early aughts.
I should have made it a little bit more clear that what I mean by that is that level of decadence stopped being appealing in a way that caught relatively more mainstream eyes. Like, Urotsuki Doji is more than just a piece of erotic animation on like a zeitgeist level. What do you...
I think he just wants to be held.
Here, come here, you big baby. Oh, God.
You got a little stuffy nose. Do you need a little nose blow?
I think he does. This is gonna happen.
You have to cut this out.
No, I'm not gonna cut it out.
It's gonna be the worst sound.
Everybody will know how much we love him.
Oh, Wander, my sweet, snorkly little angel. Here, let's blow your nose. Okay. No, hold still. There, doesn't that feel better? Hold still. Oh, hold still. It's okay, I'm almost done. Good boy.
There you go. Now you can breathe. Mm.
I'm sorry you were born this way, Wander.
It's so sad.
If I had all the money in the world, I would get you nose enlarging surgery.
Wander, your existence is so immoral.
Oh, poor little guy. Anyway.
Yeah, so it stopped, like, I don't... obviously, in the realm of pornography, decadence is a facet no matter what. I feel like decadence is a little bit of a politically loaded term, so I hope it doesn't sound like I'm saying anything, like, more loaded than I mean it. But, like, in terms of, like, the kind of phenomenon that Urotsuki Doji became and the budget that it had, you kind of don't see it after the bubble bursting. Like,
none of those Urotsuki Doji sequels look as good as Urotsuki Doji did. Same goes for the Blue Girl. Like it's not like especially beautifully animated.
There you go.
So that was more what I meant. Yeah. Obviously there are exceptions, and like you kind of have like the later anime boom that took place in the 90s that much like the financial boom of the 80s also had a crashing point. But even then, like that's when you start to see works that are a little bit more inverted, if that makes sense. Like you get stuff like Lane and Evangelion out of the anime boom, rather than things that are large and loud and explosive. You know, obviously you still get those things as well, but like in terms of how we look back on those things, what kind of paints those decades, it's very different.
Sodaft says, hi, I never used Patreon before, but your videos have been my favorite for a good while now, especially your video discussing Digimon Tamers. In terms of questions, I'm currently working on a video myself about the Bandai Wonderswan. While I was researching, I came across all sorts of strange anime games I've never heard of before. It's an absolute treasure trove of strange games made by obscure devs. Have you ever played any Wonderswan games? And if you have, what have you played and what did you think of it? Also, if you want my recommendation, you should play Dicing Night. It's an absolute banger.
Dicing Night rocks. That developer owns. I love the Wonderswan. I wish I I wish there were just like a few more games that I really felt strongly about playing on it. I love that it has a port of Clock Tower. I think that's wild. But it's a console I really love in concept. I love that its development kit was called the Wonder Witch. I think it's so cute.
I need the listeners at home to know that Wander's trying to lie across mine and Hazel's laps by putting his back end on Hazel's lap and his front paws on my lap. And even though we're sitting on two separate chairs,
he just needs to be directly immediately between
the gap between us.
Yeah,
the Wonderswan's an interesting little system.
Yeah.
Whenever I see something, I'm like, what the fuck is this game? There's a chance it's for the Wonderswan.
Yeah.
Two Cat says, captivating video as always. I wanted to ask what browser extension / obscure feature I don't know about that you use for translating websites. Noticed it when you were looking through the archived Manga Pack website. It seems more natural to use than Google translating the page with Chrome. I like the way the highlighted translations in a pop-up. That's Rikai-kun.
It's called 1010 now, or 10 Reader. But yeah, it is formerly Rikai-kun.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, my friend who's actually a light novel translator recommended Rikai-kun to me.
Interesting. I learned about it from the
Tofugu
podcast.
Oh.
Yeah.
I feel like I was like, oh yeah, like what do you do for kanji that you don't recognize? Or she's like, yeah, dude, download Rikai-kun, it's gonna change your life. And I was like, whoa, this changed my life. Hurry up, Snuffkin says Neko arc.
Oh, also the other thing that I use for highlighting text and translate it situationally is a Firefox extension called Simple Translate. It pulls translations from Google Translate, but you can only, or you can choose to just translate individual portions of pages, which is really helpful.
Yeah.
Because sometimes like you'll try to understand a sentence and it'll translate it a really fucked up way.
Yeah.
But if you just take portions of those sentences and you work through them, it's a lot easier to understand what's actually being said. Yeah.
It's also just a good learning tool.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, so what does Neko arc mean?
Oh, it's Arcuid from Tsukihime, but as a little cat gremlin.
That. Okay. Yeah, I've seen that. Everyone loves her.
Yeah. I loved her before everyone else. That's not true. I was pretty early to the game, though. I'm glad that she's had a big boost in popularity. It's very funny. I like all the memes about her.
Yeah, she's kind of a modern Yukuri to me.
Yeah.
Or like a Shiteyanyo.
Yeah.
Maybe not Shiteyanyo. That's a little more cursed.
I think she's got the kind of quality of like I think she's kind of got like a little bit of like a Dejiko quality about her.
I see it.
Yeah.
I'm giving Wander the bongos. I Like Popcan says, I never felt more seen than hearing Hazel talk about finding a piece of obscure media and spending hours trying to find any info on the internet about it. Deep L is a lifesaver when I do my kind of Google searches. Do either of you know what the most obscure thing you've ever tried to look for on the internet is? After watching the video for Hazel, I'm guessing it's already good luck.
There have been things that are more obscure. I don't remember them offhand. But like I've fallen into some fucking bizarre rabbit holes.
Again, I think my recently acquired obscure media, lost media grail is probably up there. It's obscure enough that even if you Google search it in English or in Japanese, like you get like a few relevant results and then it devolves into stuff totally unrelated.
I will say
to talk about it.
I know that DeepL is controversial among professional translators. I know. I understand. Please understand that I know that it's not a substitute for actual translators and the work that they put in. I just need to make that clear. I don't think it's a substitute for understanding a language or being fluent, but also I don't have time to learn for as much as I wish that I did. And so in situations like that, machine translation helps.
Well, Hazel uses machine translation to kind of get like 90% of the way to what she needs to know about something. And then when it really seems to matter, she'll either ask me or ask other translator friends to like help clarify stuff.
So
obviously I haven't like combed over everything Hazel's ever translated because Hazel tries to do a lot of research by herself, but a lot goes into those videos, man. It's a lot of work. It's a lot of work. I got distracted.
I wish I could remember what some of the crazier ones are. I don't even know if they'll wind up coming up in videos or not. Or like there are times where I'll kind of have to stop myself partway through researching something because I'm like, this is more work than is going to be fruitful for a video.
Wander looks euphorically happy right now that you're petting him.
He's so stoked.
Elias Rosner says, as a librarian, this kind of archival recovery of lost/nearly lost media made my heart swell. So my question is, and you kind of mentioned it in the video, do you think you'll continue to seek out these kinds of cultural/media preservation projects in the future? Or is it a matter of proximity to something you've stumbled across elsewhere? Also, with the removal of patron names, will we still get a good dose of Wander per video? Clearly,
we're getting some right now. Whenever I can put him in as like a funny gag, I really enjoy filming him. I just think he's very funny. He's a very funny guy.
When we actually get a place with any space to play with Wander, we should record some video of him doing his flips.
I have really good video of him trying to fight my phone.
Aww.
I should put that in a video somewhere.
Wander's your social media manager.
Yeah. It just kind of depends on what subjects are grabbing me. Obviously, I really am drawn to topics that are adjacent to lost media. I just like learning about things that are obscure. You know, it's like William Gibson said in my video. I can't remember the quote in full, but it was in the Ari Said Good Luck video.
Otaku
are
perverts.
Yeah, they're
William Gibson,
fucking freakazoids.
1992.
Yeah,
is when he said that quote. Oh,
Sure.
Wonder, you're so cute. Oh, goodbye. Ashley Wintermute Williams says, favorite anime intro song? Fuck! That's hard! Likewise, favorite anime outro song. Bonus question, what's the best in-universe anime band?
Favorite anime
Sonic
intro
Underground.
Song?
Just kidding.
I thought about making that joke, but I was like, I'm kind of sick of talking about Sonic Underground at this point.
Fuck!
Favorite
really
anime
hard.
intro? I really like the Sambo Master song that was used for a particular Naruto opening.
Oh yeah, a lot of the Naruto openings are really good.
Oh, you know what I'm gonna say? I'm gonna say the Kare Kana opening theme. It's
that one's very good.
that tied in with the visuals is extremely beautiful and iconic.
This question's hurting my feelings because I know I have so many answers, but because I have so many, I can't remember any of them. Like, as a kid, I would just watch anime openings for literally anything that I could find. Like, literally anything.
You want to play a fun game? Just put on a playlist of anime openings with some friends and just, like, let them play while you talk to people.
Just show each other anime openings. It's a great time. Yeah. I will say one that is strangely sentimental to me is the platinum opening for Cardcaptor Sakura.
Oh, yeah, that's one of my favorites for sure.
I think I've explained this before on your Q&As, but long story short, it was in the DVD previews for other anime for a anime DVD I'd rented from Netflix, probably Snow Fairy Sugar. And like instead of like trailers for other anime, they just had a few random opening sequences from other anime. I've got to stop gesturing near your cups on the edge.
They're not as on the edge now as they were before. It's okay.
There is like 2 centimeters.
The reason why they're so close to the edge is because I have all of my books leaning up against them, dear listeners.
Yes, close to the edge. Anyway, so yeah, I watched the platinum opening because it was on that DVD like over and over and over because I thought it was like so beautiful and I wanted to memorize the lyrics. So I would watch it and sing along, and I just thought it was so like beautiful. That fusion of Maya Sakamoto and Yoko Kanno. Yeah.
What a beautiful mix those two make.
Yeah, the what's the Maya Sakamoto album? Is it called like Hodgepodge?
Yeah, Hodgepodge.
That's a fucking great album if you want to listen to some fantastic music.
Yeah. It's got the Nappletail theme in it.
Yeah, Nappletail, rise up. I really like the which special is it? I think it's the DigiCarrot Christmas special.
Oh, the one that has like 3 guitar solos and a sax solo
and
in
a
it?
sax solo.
Yeah.
So that's sung by not Megumi, sorry. Okui, what's her first name? She's the Utena theme song singer.
Oh.
I want to say Masami, but that doesn't sound right to me. Anyway, her vocals fucking rule. That song fucking goes hard for literally no reason. It's called Megami ni Naritai. I think there's like one upload of it on YouTube, and it's like set to like, what's that like online game?
Maple Story?
Maybe it's Maple Story. I think it's like set to like Maple Story footage or
That's
something.
so beautiful. I love that.
It might have changed since
You know what
then.
I think my answer has to be? I think it's got to be the English language version of Smile Bomb.
Oh, Smile Bomb always makes me smile.
Yeah.
Coincidentally.
Yeah, it's great.
I also always go hard for endings. So it's hard because usually the endings are more calm, but I feel like there's a couple anime where I prefer the ending song over
I really like the
song.
Watamote ending.
I don't know it.
The vocal delivery on it is really good. It's Tomoko's voice actress, and she does like a really pained delivery. It's really fun.
That's cute.
Yeah.
I like feel like I could do an entire video just like spurging about anime theme songs
Yeah.
I like.
That would be really fun.
Maybe
honestly.
I'll do that as like an easy content, although it would get hella of content claimed instantly.
Yeah, but some videos are worth the claim, you know?
Yeah. Best in-universe anime bands.
I really wish I liked the...
I wish I liked the K-On! Girls.
Yeah. Yeah, I really wish I felt literally anything about K-On! I feel like I also wish I liked the in-universe bands in Beck, Mongolian Chop Squad more.
I feel like there's an obvious answer to this question.
Yeah, I'm also blanking.
I love in-universe bands, but I can't think of.
I know.
Jammerlammy.
Yeah, Milk Can.
Milk Can.
That's close enough to anime.
Fuck, yeah, I can't think of an answer.
Yeah, I also can't. Damn it.
Also, I love the fuck, I don't remember what anime it is. It's an opening sequence just set to Duran Duran's Girls on Film.
Oh, that's not Cypher, is it?
No, it's not Cypher. It's
Oh no, it's Speedgrapher.
Speedgrapher.
Yeah.
Never seen it, but I love that opening sequence.
Yeah.
It's such a good song for an anime theme.
Yeah.
Yeah, I I mean, I don't JoJo, but I think Roundabout's a great song.
I'm glad that it got more people introduced to
Yes.
Yeah.
So it's a great song. It's a good song to use for an anime ending.
I'm sure others will come up later, but that's all the answers that I got for that one.
I'm sure I have like 100 more. I really should just make a video where I talk about anime theme songs I like.
Yeah.
Lula says, "Hi Hazel and Alyssa. Was wondering if either of you have watched Michiko and Hatchin. Yeah, I love it.
It's one of my favorite anime ever.
She's not my girlfriend's recommendation. She's not a huge anime person, but it's her fave, and I really loved it. Super atmospheric, beautifully designed. Both leads are super compelling, both in and out of their relationship to each other. I'm disappointed, but not surprised by how unpopular it seems to be as far as aughts/2010s anime goes, especially because it was directed by Sayo Yamamoto, who also directed Yuri on Ice, which is super popular.
She also directed the Arakawa Under the Bridge opening.
Oh, that's actually one of my favorite anime openings,
that is
too.
also
like,
one of my favorites.
Fuck, also, sorry to go back to the previous question, but I love all the Zetsubo Sensei openings.
Yeah, they're so good.
They're extremely,
yeah, those are both Shaft. Zetsubo
Shaft does
Arakawa.
really... I think they also did the, I want to say this is it. Oh, goddamn. What's the anime with the little Shota teacher boy with like 1 million girls in his class? What's that called? Is that...
Oh, Negima?
Yeah, Negima. I think that's also Shaft, right?
I don't think so. It might be.
Well, whoever did the 1000% sparking opening, those are all really fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, the Zetsubo Sensei all has really fun openings.
Hurry, you guys technically an ending theme, right?
That's true, and it's more famous than Boken Desho Desho.
Yeah, that's one of my favorites.
Let me rephrase this or I'll get sniped in the streets. I don't love Madoka, but I did hear the Madoka theme song in a store the other day, and I was like, oh, I do love this song. I mean, fuck, the Nichijou theme song.
Oh, yeah.
I love Hyadain.
Both of them are amazing.
I've loved Hyadain since his, like, crusty early Nico Nico Doga days of doing Dragon Quest covers. Yeah. So seeing him do, like, a proper anime theme song for an anime that I also love as much as Nichijou was really special. But yeah, anyway, I love Michiko and Hatchin. I think great. The opening sequence for it's beautiful too. I don't remember the song being super
It's an instrumental.
Memorable. Yeah, it's an instrumental. It's a good one, but...
Yeah. That whole soundtrack is really fantastic. That opening feels like an extension of its soundtrack.
Yeah. It's stylish. The whole series is stylish.
Yeah, really amazing. I think that is one of the most, like... effortlessly emotionally complex shows I've seen.
I super agree about how both leads are fantastic, both in correlation to each other and outside of each other. I think I fucking love, most of all, that Michiko and Hatchin kind of sets you up to expect that Michiko is going to become a mother figure to Hatchin, and she kind of never really does. Yeah. I don't know if that's a spoiler to say.
Not really. I mean, it's something you see throughout the entire series. Yeah. It's not quite like a lone wolf and cub story. Because, like, their goals remain very different. I fucking love
that in a lot of places you kind of feel like Hatchin is the one raising Michiko. Because Michiko is such an emotionally immature person, such a stunted person. And she is a lone wolf, but, like, in only ever, like, surviving for herself, she's picked up a lot of bad and dangerous habits that Hatchin kind of has to help her circumnavigate.
That show has maybe my favorite anime ending.
It's so
like second
funny.
to like fucking like Evangelion.
It's so funny because the first time I saw it, I was so like upset by it. Almost.
That's how you're supposed to feel.
But the second time I saw it, I was like, oh, this like makes exact sense. Like this is exactly how this is meant to end.
Yeah. Like the storybook ending would be a betrayal to those characters. Yeah.
And like. Yeah, I don't want to even spoil the ending.
There's a particular detail in it that is so fucking perfect.
Yeah. That's the detail that frustrated me because I was like, she would never. But
no,
then I was like,
she
no,
would.
it actually makes perfect sense. That she would. It's good. It's good. That series does like complicated interpersonal relationships and complicated like familial.
That is the most like gray zone series. It's so great. It's so great.
Yeah, I love Michiko and Hatchin. I have pretty much almost nothing but good things to say about it. I think I've said, hi, Wander, you want to be in my lap again? So you're gently touching my arm to get my attention. Hello, baby boy. Yeah, I don't know.
He's coming over to me now.
He wants Hazel. Fuck you, Mommy Alyssa. Michiko no Hachin's good.
Yeah.
It's a high recommendation for me, especially because it's as good as it is, and not that many people seem to have seen it comparatively. I still haven't seen Yuri on Ice. Sorry, everyone. I'm a fake BL fan. Just kidding. I wouldn't consider myself specifically a BL fan. I just like romance. I wonder. You here to snorkel? Serenity Venus says, salutations. I was wondering if you've seen Dirty Pair, and if so, what your thoughts are on it.
I watched a little bit of it in high school, and I felt like I kind of got the gist from those episodes I saw.
I had that same experience. Recently, I watched a couple episodes, and I was like, I kind of get it.
Yeah.
I wanted to get more hooked by it than I did.
Yeah.
And I was kind of sad that it wasn't hooking me because I love the designs of it.
I feel like it's one of those shows where it is so much less about the characters than it seems, because like each episode does like the whole like, oh baby, here. Goodness gracious, you're hopeless. There's so much setting up to each episode's plot that it's kind of more like episodic with the framework of like, and then the dirty pair come and they undirty the pairs.
When the dirty pairs. Yeah, I like Dirty Pair aesthetically.
Yeah.
I kind of enjoy it like on a surface level.
Yeah.
Maybe someday I'll do more of a deep dive into it. Siobhan says, hi, Hazel and Alyssa. I wanted to ask your opinions on which Sonic games a total newcomer should start with. Also, what are your favorite flowers? Thanks.
I'm going to go ahead and say Sonic 3 and Knuckles, Sonic Adventure 2, and Sonic Mania.
Yeah, I think Sonic Mania is a pretty good starting place.
I think that those are not even necessarily my top 3, not by a long shot, but I think those are the 3 that kind of best sell what Sonic is.
I agree.
Yeah.
Yep. If you want to play a modern game, I haven't ever finished it because the alien gimmick kind of annoys me, but I feel like Sonic Colors is a pretty decent example of Boost era Sonic as well. It's kind of fun, it's colorful, the writing is whatever, but it's in terms of modern gaming, perhaps a little more enjoyable to play for a newcomer. Oh, favorite flowers. I love lilies of the valley.
Yeah.
And lilies in general.
Hydrangeas are my favorite.
I fucking love hydrangeas. That might be my favorite too, actually. Yeah. I'm basic and I love roses. I like the roses that have like 2 different colors. I think those are cool.
Yeah.
I love... I have a soft spot from... Maybe they're just pansies? They're like... They usually have like kind of the big petals and then like the smaller ones, and they're usually like brown and yellow in the middle with like red or blue on the outside.
Yeah, those are really beautiful.
We grew those outside of one of my childhood homes, so like I would go out there and I don't know, pick worms off of them or snails or ladybugs to like throw across the yard. I was a little psycho child, don't worry about it. Anyway, Karen Zolo says, sorry if this has been asked before, but after seeing this video, I got curious. You mentioned not speaking Japanese. In spite of this, your desire to go on untranslated media hunts is really vast. Did you ever study Japanese in high school? What tools do you use to help understand languages you don't speak?
My school did not offer Japanese. It offered Spanish, French, and Mandarin. I took Spanish. I don't remember very much of it, but it was really useful in understanding the concept of verb conjugation, or just conjugation in general, because that transfers over to so many different languages and so many different forms. Yeah, I mean, I can, like, I self-studied, like, fucking hiragana and katakana.
Yeah, even just knowing hiragana and katakana can be really helpful.
It gets you a good amount of the way there. For my purposes anyway.
So I recommended Rikai Kun earlier. What's that called now? 1010?
1010. It's 10 written numerically, like 10 and then TEN. So 1010. Yeah.
That's cute. I recommend that. Obviously, Google Translate's getting a little bit better these days. It's not perfect, but it'll get you a lot of the way.
I really like Jisho.
Like Jisho. For a kanji app, I recommend Shirabe Jisho. It's written shirabe jisho. You can search for it in Romaji.
Is that one of the ones that'll let you write it out?
Yeah, you can write it out.
I don't They never pick up mine because I don't understand stroke order.
This one's really good about ignoring the order you write the strokes in. So if you just get the amount of strokes roughly correct and the overall shape, it will get you 90% of the way there. So I really recommend Shirabe for looking up any kanji you don't know that perhaps the Google phone app that tries to scan kanji isn't picking up.
Yeah.
What is that tool you started using for video games?
It's an OCR program.
OCR,
I don't think it has a proper name. I think it's literally just called visual novel OCR.
Yeah, it's only good for really clear, easy to pick out.
Actually, not really.
Well, Leo was having trouble with
the sliders are really finicky, but I was able to get through a little bit of Shizuku just using
that helped though because it had a solid color background.
It didn't. It had a checkered background.
Okay.
Because it's classic visual novel style where it's got the semi-transparent background.
Right. I still think that's a little clearer than a lot of video games. But either way, the OCR.
And it's in active development, so.
Yeah.
But I know that me saying this is going to invariably upset translators who think that doesn't count.
I'm just
offering I get it.
Resources for people who want to try to learn or figure things out on their own, because not all of us can hire translators to do our dirty work for us.
Dirty work.
Well, I say this sadly and longingly as someone who has always had to free ball it on my own. I've only ever studied Japanese really scattershot on my own for several years. The amount of time I've been trying to study it does not belie any sort of particular talent because I've never had a concentrated academic effort at it. But yeah, the resources are better today than they've ever been before. Back in my day, I had a shitty, really broken dictionary, an online dictionary.
Yeah, fucking Babelfish.
And Babelfish, which was notoriously nonsensical with Japanese and Chinese.
Yeah.
I think those help a lot.
Yeah.
Cross-referencing several different resources, looking up words, and then understanding the grammar too, even if your diction, your vocab isn't so good, because my vocabulary is not very good, but I understand the basic grammar, and that can help you kind of puzzle piece stuff.
Yeah.
It's well, I don't know what each of these words mean.
Verbs and nouns are way easier to look up than the meaning of a sentence. You know?
Yeah. And then, as you look up those pieces, you'll kind of gradually pick stuff up. If you don't, I highly recommend memorizing hiragana, katakana.
Yeah, Tofuga's resources for learning them is really good. You can do it, and you can do each in a weekend.
I recommend writing them down.
Yes.
Too.
Yeah.
Practice writing hiragana and katakana, and it will really help with your longevity in memorizing them.
Yeah.
Because that's what I did when I was a kid. I had a little traveler's guide to Japan book that was my only resource back then, and a manga that I wanted to read, and so I wrote out everything and then wrote it in Romaji and then looked up each individual piece of a sentence and tried to write it in English, and I think that helped with my long-term. I memorized hiragana and katakana in a week doing that, so I miss being a child with infinite free time and a flexible brain.
Seriously.
Anyway, I'd love to study Japanese formally, but I'm broke and I have no time and my brain is crusty now, so rest in peace. Mads Line says, howdy, love the new video and appreciate Hazel's commitment to her topics with pulling the video to add new information. I know that must have been really stressful for you, Hazel, but we really appreciate it. My question's for Alyssa, that's me! On a few Q&As back, my ears pricked up at you mentioning Rose and Maiden. As a 20-something that fixated on that anime as a teen, it was crazy hearing it brought up in the wild. I was just curious who your favorite doll was. I rewatched the first season this winter, was charmed by Shinku a lot. Back in my teens, I was Shinku, Team Shinku, ride or die, hashtag Shinku did nothing wrong, hashtag Suiginto got what she deserved. As a classy, intelligent adult, I now have a lot of fondness for Suiginto as well. I still love Shinku. I still love, I don't know. I love her prissy little Ojo-sama bit, but I fucking love how messy Suiginto is. I love her whole relationship with her medium. And yeah, I love Rosa Maiden. I really can't justify why I loved Rosa Maiden so much, except that I liked the way it looked and I liked the character designs and I thought that it was fun. I don't know though. Maybe I like Kiraki Show a lot these days. I liked Kiraki Show a lot because, hold on, I think I'm about to choke. Maybe I can stop it. Hold on. Hazel drank all the water and now I'm going to die. I don't want to choke because I know Hazel won't cut it out of the audio. I found water and I think I stopped myself from choking. Okay. Kiraki Show really fascinated me because she was so barely shown in the manga and she didn't show up at all in the anime until like one shot at the end of season 2. So I was always really excited to learn more about her, and then you just kind of don't. I mean, you kind of do, but you kind of don't. So I think the fact that she's such a non-character that managed to spark so much fascination for me makes me like her, strangely enough. Also, just on the subject of Rosa Maiden, I really, really wish that anyone had any interest in translating the visual novels. And I actually think one just came out semi-recently that I haven't played that I've been curious about. But maybe I've even talked about them before. The visual novels are interesting because they play out the events of seasons 1 and 2 of the anime, respectively, in each game. And they branch pretty significantly. Like, your choices actually do significantly change, like, where the plot goes and how it ends. And I was pretty fascinated that visual novels based on a pre-existing manga and anime were willing to diverge so much from what the actual canon endings were. At least to my recollection of them anyway. I haven't played them since high school. But yeah, those are up there with the Oron DS game on my list of games that I wish would get translations that probably never will.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's my answer. I'm glad you also like Rosa Maiden. It's one of those things that I don't really know how to recommend to anyone, but I have
when we were first watching season 1, I liked Suiginto the most, and now with time I like Suisei Seki the most.
We need to finish Tromen so I can show you.
Yeah, I'm really mad that you're literal, like, old enough that they're .avi files of TV with broadcasts,
hard coded
subs. The files are corrupted.
I know, I'm sad about that, to be honest.
Yeah,
but you need to watch Overture.
Yeah, I want to.
It's real sad doll hours.
That's the OVA, right?
Yeah, that's the one that's just about Suiginto.
Yeah.
Madison says, salute, Hazel and Alyssa. I love the video, but I have one question I've been meaning to ask for a while. As a certified Lum lover TM myself, my interest was piqued when you mentioned in the Vlad Love video how Urusei Yatsura deserves its own video, and I've been wondering if you plan on following through with this for a potential future video. Maybe I'm just not looking in the right places, but there's not much analytical content on YouTube about Urusei Yatsura, despite its huge impact on anime as we know it today. Anyways, beyond my question, thank you so much for the amazing content. No matter what you put out there, I know I'll love it.
Yeah, I absolutely still want to do that. I have a lot of videos that are on the back burner because I kind of reached a point last year when I was planning out videos where I kind of had to come to terms with hitting the I know enough to know how little I know phase.
Yeah, Urusei Yatsura, like, because...
I just, like, really want to make sure that I have all of my facts straight and that I know as much as I can and have as much context as I can in order to do that video justice.
Urusei Yatsura is kind of daunting because it has such a long history and has such a cultural impact.
Yeah.
And so many influences of its own going in that if we were to do a video on it, I'd really want to, like, do it justice.
Yeah, it'd be like fucking 4 hours long.
Well, especially if there isn't a lot of other content about it out there. Like, I would know we kind of have the burden of, like, being the one video.
Yeah. There are just so many angles that you can take it from, and it's literally historically significant from all of them. And we happen to have, because you made some smart purchasing decisions, a lot of, like, really in-depth books about its production that are just, like, invaluable for a project like that.
Yeah, we'd really want to do a deep dive on that. So it's one of those someday projects that I know a lot will go into. So I kind of think in the meantime, we're just gradually.
Yeah. Like a lot of the videos that I've been working on or that I've been putting out were almost sort of like stopgaps to larger videos, if that makes sense, of like, here is something that I can talk about that learning more about will be helpful for these other bigger videos. So yeah, I love Lum. Shouts out to the dinky little Ursa Yatsura Famicom game.
Oh, the wedding bell?
Yeah, the one where you start as Lum as a little baby and then you play all the way to her adulthood.
I love it.
It's cute.
Grimm's Child says, regarding nearly or completely lost media, are there any particular titles, anime or otherwise, that you're still trying to track down, either for rarity or for the quality of the product? As a fan of rare and experimental film that mostly exists in bad or degraded versions, this video really struck a chord regarding delving into potentially mediocre territory just to satisfy curiosity. For the thing I keep vaguely alluding to that I'm not being specific about because I want it to be a little bit of a surprise, there is one piece of it that is so utterly lost that, minor spoilers, even digging through 2chan, I saw an old post that was like, does anybody have this? Like, does anybody have it? No one replied. Like, that was an old post I found of someone else, like, already in the Japanese fandom, like, yo, like, where's this at? That no one had any answers for. So I don't have too much hope for myself.
Yeah. I feel like a lot of the stuff that I kind of have an eye out for indefinitely are things that are just like, they crop up infrequently and aren't necessarily super expensive or sought after, but just like there aren't that many of them floating around. I can't think of too many off the top of my head though.
Yeah. Sorry, I'm starting to get a little bit sleepy.
Yeah, we gotta power through these.
Flan says, do you collect any doujinshi / Comiket Premiere products, independent projects, or fan projects? I've been importing for well over a decade and been reading scanlations since the dial-up days. Hell yeah. My prized possession being the Clamp and Wonderland issue where Kakyoin lays an egg.
That's amazing.
That rules.
That's so great.
That's really cool.
We definitely own some stuff from that whole world. I really like Doujinsoft. It kind of feels like a whole little, like a multi-layered Christmas present between like the disc and the manual and all the art and stuff like that.
I wish I owned more doujinshi. I only just within the last few years kind of like had that realization, like, oh, I'm an adult and I have money and I live on my own and I know how to use the internet. I should import doujinshi.
Yeah.
That was kind of never an option for me before.
Remember the time that you shipped doujinshi to my house because you were living with your parents after college?
Shy about it. Yeah. Yeah, I wish I owned more doujinshi. I would especially love to own, like, old doujinshi for stuff I like, but obviously the nature of, like, reselling doujinshi being the kind of dark gray territory. A lot of it does wind up for
sale on secondhand markets,
It does. I feel a little guilty buying it, because you're kind of not supposed to.
I just wouldn't spend, like, big money on any of that stuff. But I mean, it's like, you'd be surprised how many, like, old magazines and stuff like that go up for, like literally like less than 100 yen.
Fuck, this is what I hate about the gentrification of American conventions, is that back in the day, people, like vendors, would just show up with like boxes of random ass uncategorized doujinshi and like just have so much of it that it'd be like, yeah, this entire box is like $5 for each one.
Yeah.
Like, take your pick.
Yeah.
And now they're so regimented and like, I don't know, above board.
Yeah.
Anime cons are and vendors are, that you kind of can't do that
Well,
anymore.
that segues beautifully into our next question.
Oh, hell yeah. Shane says, apologies if this has been asked before, but how do you feel about cons and would you make con appearances given the opportunity?
I don't know if I would want to have a panel at a con. I don't know if I would want to go to a con and make it clear that I went to that con. I think if I went, I would like to keep it on the DL. I really like the atmosphere of cons. I think they're really cute. I think they're really charming. It's going to be a few years before I'm going to feel safe going to one, number one.
Yeah.
But I also, I don't know what I would do with a panel. I think I would feel weird about it.
See, this is where you and I are different, because I used to have delusions of grandeur.
If
Of
SoccerCon
like, oh,
ever
man,
asks
I wanna
me
do
to do a con panel, just say yeah.
I want to
and
do
I'll
a
send you
Q&A.
in my
I want to be
place.
famous. I don't do anything worth doing a Q&A for, though.
Well, you know, I'd do one so that you could do it with me if you really wanted
Well,
that.
my thought is if you ever did a panel, it should be like for a specific thing. Like we have a specific gimmick.
Yeah,
going, or
yeah. I mean, like I really
activity we
like. There's like a series of panels from MagFest that the like Video Game History Foundation either like worked on or curated or pitched or something.
Mm-hmm.
So like Frank Cifaldi and Phil from the Obscuratory did like really, really good like just like PowerPoint talks about specific aspects of video game preservation
That's
and
fun.
video game history. And
That's really fun.
the idea of doing something like that would be really fun.
Doing like a live Hazel video that you prepared in advance could be kind of cute.
Yeah. I think it would be fun to do something like that. But then I also have the thought of like, why do I do this for some fucking con when I can just make the video? Why do I need to sell their tickets?
Yeah, that's true.
For some like big like convention company that's probably like extremely overworking their staff, you know?
Oh yeah, for sure.
Their organizers.
I want to go to cons again, but I need to wait like 5 years for the plague to end, and I want to cosplay.
Yeah. I'd like to cosplay
Cosplay with me.
and just not tell anybody until afterward.
Linus Wood says, the idea of owning multiple computers at the same time is very alien to me. I realized watching this video, I've always thought of a computer as something I have for its utility that I use until it's dead and then replace. Maybe I'd have a home PC and a laptop, but that's as far as I'd consider going. I'm not a tech person, for the record, so my question is, how did you amass your computer collection? How long have you had each computer? Which specific utility does each operating software have besides its ultra-specific uses?
Day to day, I literally only use my desktop computer, which has a Linux partition and a Windows partition. And then I have my laptop, which I use almost like pretty much exclusively for work and stuff like that. Like I use my desktop computer to stream and to do the things that my MacBook cannot. The only reason I have those other computers is because they were my first two laptops, and I don't throw anything away ever.
Yeah, they're old.
Yeah.
They're old.
Yeah, like not only like they're not old in the sense that I bought them when they were vintage. Like I've had them
You've had them since before I met you.
Since they were new, yeah. And every now and again they come in handy for something, you know. Mm-hmm. I think pretty soon here I'm just gonna have to put the same Japanese copy of Windows XP that I put on my on the virtual machine. Mm-hmm. I think I just need to install that ISO onto my oldest laptop. Yeah, especially for some projects that I'm working on pretty soon here. So I thankfully haven't had to buy any computers outright strictly for some like hyper specific context. I don't really see much reason in like collecting computers for what I do in particular. I love computers. I think they're super interesting, but I mostly get my fill from just watching like LGR and stuff like that instead of seeking to own those things. I think it would be fun to own one of those like clear plastic iMacs. I think those are really cute.
So cute. Yeah, Hazel's two
Could finally
computers
play
are
Cookies
workhorses.
Bustle.
Oh, Cookies Bustle.
Yeah.
Hazel's two computer workhorses, and then the other ones are just ancient.
Yeah, I just don't like. I've never, the idea of throwing them away has never sat right.
I've got my very first personal computer, which is a MacBook that I got. How old am I now? Let me think. 13 years ago. And then I have the one I got after that for college, and tooth and nail, I did not want to buy it. I tried to make my old laptop work as long as I could.
Yeah.
Until it just wouldn't anymore. Well, they were forcing me to do Maya homework at home, and I was like, my computer cannot render Maya files. It is shutting down.
And then the bottom half of the keyboard stopped working.
Oh, yeah. And then, I spilled tea on it a couple times. Whoops. Yeah. And then I think I have my current laptop, which I also had to get for work.
Yeah.
And then I have my proper work computer.
Yeah.
Which I used to play Minecraft. Just kidding. I don't play Minecraft right now. Technique says, you mentioned in this video that the lower quality you initially experienced Teresa Good Luck in added to the experience. I recently sought out a VHS home recording of FLCL's first airing and found seeing the show in that quality really enriched my experience, if only in knowing that higher quality versions were readily available. Do you ever purposefully seek out lower quality versions of things to add that analog grit to watching/listening experience?
There's an upload of there are uploads of a few Peanuts specials that are VHS rips from broadcasts that have the commercials in place.
Yeah.
And those are lovely, and I love them.
Wonder, I love you.
One of my favorite series is on YouTube are the videos that Brutal Moose does, where he goes over various just blank VHSs.
Yeah, those are so much fun.
They're so much fun, and he gets so much out of them.
Mm-hmm.
I really, really enjoy those.
Yeah, I wish there was any ethical way he could find the random personal stuff people have recorded on VHSs.
Yeah.
But I totally get why that's
there's literally no way that you could do that ethically.
Alan Ray says, what do you think your favorite obscure anime is? Hit us with some deep shit. Also, unrelated to anything, but if Alyssa's there, hi, I hope you're enjoying Final Fantasy XIV. Thanks. I boot it up once a week, and I scratch my tickets, and I take pictures of my little guy, and I go, oh, you're so beautiful, baby boy, and then I close the game and don't do any missions. It's great. I love it.
Honestly, I gotta go with Butt Attack Punisher Girl Gotemon. I know it's kind of becoming a sort of unofficial poster child for me. I really, really adore those OVAs. They're bad. As far as obscure shit that I really want to evangelize. What's up, babe?
I just remembered one. I'm sorry it's porn, but I'm curious if anyone in your fans can find this for me. Sorry, I'm forcing your fans to find lost media for me. I watched one forever ago, and it's crazy that I remember so many specific details about it and can't find it again now.
Yeah.
I even posted on the tip of my penis or whatever.
Tip of my dick.
Tip of my dick to try to find it, and no one could find it.
Yeah.
I want to say it was 3 episodes. It's about, I think, a Catholic high school girl who gets turned into a science project where her whole thing is she has to do some kind of sex research. I don't remember why. They make a whole plot point don't worry, we installed a high-tech contraceptive in you, so you're totally safe.
That's so insane.
Which I was I'm shocked that they even gave that part of this any consideration.
How did you find that? Why did you watch this?
I watched it because I thought the main girl's character design was really cute.
Okay.
I feel I remember her having really big, maybe purple braids.
Huh.
I can't remember for sure. I just remember the climax of the OVA was her fighting against an American sex robot where her whole thing was they get into a fucking competition where they have to see who can fuck more men than the other and bring happiness to them. And the American sex robot speaks in that really funny overwrought
right.
American
right the way the Patty from
hello, great to meet you. Oh, that kind of shit. This is definitely not
No.
it, but I love this cover art.
Yeah.
Anyway,
I'm so curious
They get into a
about
competition, and the whole, like, the competition plays out that the sex robot girl fucks a bunch of men, but she, like, sucks them of all their vitality because she doesn't give them love. So, like, they all, like, feel, like, really drained and, like, unhappy afterwards. But our main girl, she gives them love. She puts care into her technique.
You remember so many details
it's
about
like
this.
the Krabby Patty episode where SpongeBob gets into the Krabby Patty competition, and he takes more time to make the one Krabby Patty, but he does it with love, and that's why it's good. So the climax is that she fucks with love, so, like, she wins the competition because the men are happy after they're with her. And I don't actually watch hentai very much because I find it kind of funny.
It's the ratio of, like, utility to, like, cute fun stuff.
Yeah. So this is like
off.
one of those things where, like, I watched it because I was like, I like the character design. I'll watch like one episode of this, and I found it, like, strangely kind of funny and surprisingly wholesome.
That was how I felt about
premise.
Karakuri Ninja Girls.
Yeah.
And then every time they were fucking, I was like, yeah, whatever, just get on with it.
Yeah. Like, at first they do the whole, like, I don't want to do this. Like, I'm
It's funny because
and
that
then
is very similar to Arisa.
Oh yeah, and then it shifts gears, and she's like, actually, I feel really bad for this lonely guy, and I want to give him a good first time. So, like, now I'm obviously it's like stupid hentai contrivances, right? But like, as far as hentai
when you view
goes,
it within its own tone, within its own world,
it was strangely wholesome, and I don't like that phrase very much, but it was surprisingly wholesome, and I'm so sad I can't find it again.
Yeah. I remember I watched one ages and ages ago that I thought was similarly cute. And it's like just like about a couple's first time. Mm-hmm. They've been like dating for a while, and they're like, hey, do you think we should just like have sex? They're like, yeah, well, shit, we gotta go to the store and we gotta get condoms, and like it's like very like procedural. Like they kind of like fail to have sex the first few times. I didn't know what it was for ages, and I'm not 100% sure, but I think it's the OVA of Futari Ecchi, which is it got localized as Manga Sutra. It's been running for like 400 chapters.
That's a really funny
title. I know, it's really cute.
Sorry, Alan Ray, you probably weren't asking for hentai recommendations. I was just thinking, like, what's the weirdest, most random thing I've watched, and then I remembered that
I feel like I watched some really obscure shit recently just on a whim while editing, and I can't remember what it was that I watched now that I enjoyed. Goodness. I'm looking through this and
looking at your Annie list. It's so funny.
Why? What's funny?
I don't know. It's just funny. It makes me laugh.
Yeah.
I like saying Aiken next to Digimon Tamers.
Yeah, fucking Boogie Pop next to fucking Dokuro-chan. Yeah. I think Butt Attack Punisher Girl, like, the more obscure, the more fun it is to talk about in a video for me. So yeah.
Booger says, your hunts for lost or almost lost media got me thinking about media that doesn't exist but almost did. Pitches and concepts that just never got put into full production. I can't tell you how much time I spent thinking about the 70s anime adaptation of Pippi Longstocking that Miyazaki pitched to Astrid Lindgren.
I fucking Berenstain Universed myself into thinking this was real.
Yeah.
I was fucking certain.
Yeah.
I had the most vivid image of it in my mind. And everybody kept going, oh no, it was definitely the Pippi Longstocking like production materials that they posted. It wasn't that. And then I was like, I thought for sure that it was fucking Anne of Green Gables because she's got the fucking red hair, but it wasn't that either. I have the most vivid image of it in my mind, but it doesn't fucking exist. So I guess I came from the universe where it did get produced.
Yeah, I also think a lot about that. Do you have a favorite unproduced project that you wish had actually come out? Fuck. I mean, I feel like that's a really good iconic
Mother 64
yeah.
is my go-to.
Did we mention that one earlier already?
I don't remember. It's been 3.5 hours.
Yeah, I was always really curious about the Mother. Yeah, because I mentioned Dinosaur Land. Or
yeah. Adventureland.
Fuck, what's it called?
Dinosaur Planet?
Planet. And how glad that ended up coming out. Also the, what's it called? Like the Conquer 64 before it became Conquer.
Oh, Conquer's Wings of, what was it?
It's called like Conker's.
It's not Pocket Tales because that's the Game Boy Color one. Conker and the Conker. What is the fucking
Conker? Cancelled Conker.
What is that fucking? What was it originally called? Conker and the Seven Wings of.
I think you're making that up.
No, what the fuck was it called?
It's called Conker's Good for a Day.
Yeah, Conker's Good for a Day. There's definitely that.
Conker.
There's a canceled Wii game called Snow that has really, really hard character or monster designs, and it got canceled. And I wish it had come out because it seemed cool and weird. There's so many that I am always forgetting about, but I feel like there are a few in particular that are like total white whales. Like, god damn it, why couldn't this have come out?
I think a lot about, and this is no shade to any of these projects in particular, because I 100% understand the complications that arise for them. I think a lot about the universe where all of the like crowd-funded XB spiritual successors of beloved old franchises came out and were good.
Yeah.
So I mean, like, obviously, a lot of these games are not as bad as people say. Some of them are. Like, you know, where's the universe where Mighty Number 9 and Yooka-Laylee managed to do what it is they were trying to set out to do?
12 Tails.
12 Tails.
I got that. It was the wrong body part. It was not wings, it was tails.
Yeah, the
Seven Wings? Is that what I said? That was a little close.
Fuck what that is. Anyway, yeah. I mean, I guess those aren't canceled at all, but I wonder a lot about the world in which Balan Wonder World is a better game.
Yeah.
Julian AV says, do you have any tips with how to find the time and energy to research and watch all the stuff you do? I want to make the effort to experience more art.
It's really hard. I think you kind of need to get into a rhythm with it. I think we live very busy lives and we're constantly overloaded by information and stimuli and names of things that may or may not be worth our time. Mm-hmm. I genuinely, like, I think that the being comfortable with, you know, putting something on and not sitting down and giving it your 100% full attention is always valid, because you can always go back and give it the time that it deserves later if you come away with it connecting with it. I think that it's totally okay to find ways to fit things into your schedule that aren't necessarily like full dedicated, like you know, like turning your living room into a movie theater kind of things, you know. Taking time to pluck away at certain things with friends every week is fun as well, and rewarding.
Yeah. Hazel and I have a set day where we like just watch and play things with friends, and it's easier to justify spending time on consuming media when it can also double as a social experience. Because I don't know, maybe it's just us being old and busy, but it can be really hard to make time to spend time with friends.
Yeah.
So kind of rolling those up into two just enhances both experiences. More bang for your buck. Christopher Roger Simon says, it seems like monthly questions keep growing. If there are ever too many questions for a video, would you consider letting fans vote on questions and then answer what votes floats to the top?
I think I would rather just go through all of them, even if it takes a long time.
Yeah, I have fun doing this.
Yeah, I have a lot of fun doing it. I enjoy talking to my beautiful wife, who I love so very much.
Babe.
And
say that in front of the viewers, babe. It's embarrassing.
And, you know, I think I would feel a little bit weird if this, like, one benefit that you guys get is sort of truncated situationally. Mm-hmm. Like, I think I would rather just wait and do it late like we did this week, rather than say, oh, I'm just not going to do it at all this time.
Yeah. I have fun doing these, and you guys ask good questions.
Yeah.
And I appreciate it.
Yeah, this wouldn't be as long as it was if any of these questions were bad.
Leoda says, hi Hazel, hope you're doing well. Have you ever watched DigiCare? And if so, what is your opinion on its different iterations? Also, if you want to laugh, check out the reception section on its Wikipedia page. The quotes about Digico are kind of hilarious. I haven't looked at the reception section recently, but I've already mentioned DigiCarrot like 5 times.
I've seen all of the original DigiCarrot, the like 5-minute long ones. I think they're fucking great. They're a lot of fun. They're nonsensical. It's you know, like those like gifs of like early internet gifs where it's like a person like barfing a rainbow and then like it's like that kind of thing. It's got kind of that kind of
ancient,
quality to it.
Like old internet, like iconography quality to it. Should I allude? Nah. Okay. Well, I grew up loving DigiCarrot.
Yeah, Alyssa was like a little DigiCarrot fuck freak.
Don't word it like that.
What?
Yeah, I mean, I worshipped the ground Kogedombo walked on as a kid. I just mentioned her for the Illustrators question. I was endlessly fascinated by DigiCarrot, and I'm pretty sure it was my first ever manga. Wander's being so cute right now.
I only realized recently that I picked up the phrase fuck freak from Tim and Eric.
Yeah, I'll take a look at the reception section. I'm curious. But Digiko's an icon. Pyoko's my girl, though. Morpheus says, have you played Ball in Wonderworld?
No. But if you want to hear me and my friend Kyle talk about it at length, you should watch his video where it's an archive of a Twitch stream where he and I watch his 2-hour long breakdown of Ball in Wonderworld.
Hell yeah.
That video is called "Why Did We Like Ball in Wonderworld?" I told him that he should name it that. Yeah.
JRG123 says, over the years, I've seen a lot of online creators delete early work due to an unhappiness with the quality, incorrect information, changes in opinions or morals, discomfort with the way they presented themselves, or anything else, really. Even though I'm often glad to find this work archived and find myself getting a lot out of it, however imperfect it is, I can't help but feel some qualms about archival work done for work an artist seems to want to leave behind. Sorry. I thought it would be interesting to hear how you think about the creators, particularly small independent creators, agency, and media preservation. I mean, we kind of touched on that a little bit earlier.
I think that it's a little selfish to kind of take the, like, how do I put it? Like, it's easy to want to take the higher ground and say, like, this preservation is for the people, and to kind of lose sight of the fact that the person who made it, I think, still deserves to have agency over their own art.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, my motto is always, if the creator doesn't want it passed around, you pass that blunt quietly, bro.
Yeah.
You know, just damn it to the people who really want to see it.
Yeah.
No, I mean, don't listen to me. Hazel's absolutely on the money. It's always important to respect the wishes of
I think that there are
creators.
definitely people who are responsible enough to be able to sort of like engage with those things on their own and understand that they're old and understand the context that they're put into. But I also think that, like, I don't know quite how to put it.
I'm just such an archival freak, and I get such like a sentimental attachment to things that I like, and the impermanence of the internet disturbs me.
Yeah.
So I really hate when people delete stuff, which, no shade, Hazel, I know you delete stuff all the time. But I mean, I don't know. I had like a bunch of favorite artists and writers as a kid who I just straight up cannot find ever again because they deleted everything, and that makes me want to die. So I am a huge proponent of, if you love it, save it to your personal computer for yourself, because everything is impermanent on the internet.
Yeah, I think that how do I put it? Like, yeah, obviously I have privated videos of mine. They're not lost though. Like, I still have them.
Yeah,
they're
but they're
just
lost
for
to
me.
Everybody else.
Yeah, and it's for good reason.
Sure.
Yeah.
But you know.
Like, I get the push and pull, obviously. Like, there are creators who have videos that are gone that I enjoyed even within the context that they were older. Like, it's not like I don't see the fan perspective. I just also value my own perspective more in those instances, because, like, you know, for everybody who comes to a certain thing understanding the problems that it has and understanding where a creator is at now, there are just as many people who are going to find it completely contextless and think that it is representative of where a creator is at now. And that is a very vulnerable feeling when so many assumptions are made about a person based on just like every little thing that they put out.
Wonder kept trying to climb back and forth between your lap and mine, and it was annoying
Yeah,
me.
he kept getting mad that we were laughing loudly.
Wonder's so fussy. Yep.
Yeah.
Good for you, or sorry that happened. I got distracted by Wonder. It's Riley Me says, hey, yeah, I hella agree with the importance of archival work and how it's necessary to preserve the labor and love creators put into their work. That said, it's hard to think about stuff like this happening now. For zines and other fan works, we got itch.io and the Internet Archive. Often now when things go missing, it's by the choice of the artist, so copying there isn't right without consent. Media hunts are getting longer and longer, and there's likely not going to be too many new ones in the future. How do you see that?
I don't think I agree. There's a new lost media comes up all the time. You know, I think certain hunts catch the public attention better than others. And that's more what it comes down to.
Yeah.
I would say that unless you're saying that the hunts that are longer and longer and expecting to see less of them, if you're saying that's to scale with the newness of the piece of media, maybe. But you know, I think that there's so much out there, and there's so much that we don't even know about yet, you know? Like, when you think about it, a lot of the biggest pieces of lost media were things that nobody even knew was lost at all until one person happened to bring up a recollection of it, you know?
Well, that's why I love the media that falls in a forest and no one hears it.
Yeah.
Like, I can't wait until
that would have
lost
been
media...
our good luck.
I can't wait until lost media fuck freaks get so, like, down to the wire that we start seeing videos about, like, this
about a potentially lost dub of Sonic Underground.
No, I'm talking like from even like media from countries that aren't like trendy.
Yeah.
Like, you know, everyone cares about Japanese media, but like I want to know about a demo CD for like a South African bands that like they put out, like they only passed out like physical copies in one city.
I should show you.
And one person like grew up sentimental.
There's
for
a channel
that
that kind of covers that sort of
like,
thing.
I want to start seeing like shit you wouldn't even think anyone would think about.
For people who I know are going to ask, Bandsplaining is the name of that channel.
Bandsplaining.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll
good
have
channel.
to look that up.
Yeah, you can learn a lot about South African rock music and stuff like that.
I want to hear about like I don't know, a Russian game developer who made games in his basement while trying not to freeze to death during the Russian
I also have a
winter.
video like that for you.
Okay, good. Yeah. Well, I want more of that shit.
Yeah. Well, those are the stories that I'm drawn the most to because you're not gonna get them from like
anyone
fucking
else.
mainstream sources.
Yeah.
You know, you gotta get it from the people who like. I don't know. I just find so much value in stories about people who don't get stories told about them, and I think that's kind of the big appeal for lost media for me. Yeah, so sorry. What's the hunt to you is where it picks off from.
How would you feel if tomorrow all mysteries were found, all lost media archived at its highest quality, if Go for a Punch was finally and definitively confirmed fake in a convincing enough way for Reddit? Would you be happy, sad, relieved that the search is over? Personally, I see lost media hunts as vital to maintain interest in past works. Library has to put on events after all, despite the centuries of collective knowledge, but I'm a little bean with little steak. I'm not the one who puts in the effort to actually find doja and OVAs, late night cereal ads, etc. So it would be rad to hear the thoughts of someone who is.
I wouldn't consider myself super involved in like the lost media scene or community. I haven't really been in touch with anybody who is. I just kind of have followed it at a distance and have sort of picked up some of their tricks. So I don't think that I can necessarily speak for that community. If theoretically everything was found tomorrow, I think that would be really beautiful and really great. I feel that way about the Nintendo Giga Leak. I think that's one of the best things to happen to video games in the last decade, genuinely.
Yeah, justice for the guy who leaked that and got sent to jail.
Yeah, fucking seriously. Fucking... I'm just so enamored by the fact that happened, and the mysteries that it cleared up. And I think that kind of like wonderment still exists with that leak even now that so many of those pieces have been found. Because like it's like a Russian nesting doll. You find the piece of lost media and then you can analyze the parts that made it up, and then you find more things in there, and that's, you can get down to like an atomic scale if you look close enough at a single piece of media. It's in there eventually. And I definitely get the idea that the mystery is part of the appeal. But I also feel like that's what's beautiful about, like, I don't know, stuff like Petscop, is where like the mystery is built in as a part of the conceit. Whereas I think for lost media, like for some people, it's about it's more about the journey than the destination. But there are people who do really want those things so that they can experience them again, or just for the first time even.
I love Petscop so much.
Yeah, Petscop is great.
Petscop is one of my favorite thing of all time.
Yeah, it's really great. I answered this one out of order because I thought it was a good note to close on.
Everyone go watch Petscop. Right now.
Yeah. Well, that's all the questions. Thank you so much. This was a lot of fun to record. I did not expect this to go for 3 hours and 45 minutes.
I was so full when we started recording, and I shit you not, now I'm hungry.
Yeah, I'm hungry too. Talking is a lot of work.
It is.
Do you still want to stream?
I'm down if you are.
Yeah, I am too. I want to eat first.
Drink and eat.
Yeah, same. Well, cool. I'll try to get this uploaded pretty soon here. I also have another stream archive that needs to get uploaded. But yeah, thank you so much.
Thanks, guys.
I'm going to try to be a lot quicker on the Sonic Underground one. So get your questions in on that.
Cannot wait to have an excuse to talk more about Sonic.
Yeah, that'll be a lot of fun. Ask us questions about Sonic over there. We'll probably answer it, I don't know, like 3 weeks on the dot after that video came out. I'm not quite sure. Just kind of whenever questions stop trickling in.
Talking about Sonic is like I wake up and I do that. So I don't think doing the Q&A for that will be too hard.
Yeah, definitely. Thank you all so much. Goodbye.
Bye, guys. Love you.